on Sunday and in the Scottish Premiership. Starting south of the border, Crystal Palace host Leeds United, and Manchester United face Aston Villa. Nottingham Forest take on Fulham. All those games kicking off at 2 o'clock. Meanwhile, in the 4:30 game from Anfield, it's Liverpool against Tottenham. Meanwhile, in the Scottish Premiership, Rangers will be hoping to narrow the gap on Hearts as they make the trip to Paisley to take on St Mirren at 12 o'clock. At 2 o'clock, it's an all Dundee affair. Dundee against Dundee United for that last game of the weekend in the Scottish Premiership. Moving on to Rugby League news now, and a roundup of the results in the Challenge Cup. It finished York Knights 56, Keighley Cougars 10, Goole Vikings 10, Warrington Wolves 78, Huddersfield Giants 12, Hull Kingston Rovers 52, Lee Leopards 16, Hull FC 6, Catalan Dragons 58, Oldham 0, and Castleford Tigers 8, St Helens 32. But that's all for now. We'll have more later. These are your latest sports news headlines. I'm Alex Jack. We start with the Rugby Union headlines on this Sunday morning, and in a sensational game at the Stade de France to complete a Super Saturday, France edged out England in Paris thanks to a 48-46 victory for Le Bleu. A thrilling contest, a Thomas Ramos penalty with the game all but done, securing the victory that France needed to pip Ireland to the title. Ireland beating Scotland 43 points to 21 in the opening game at the Aviva Stadium on the Super Saturday. Wales ended their long wait, 3 years waiting for a Six Nations victory. They beat Italy comprehensively at the Principality Stadium in Cardiff by 31 points to 17. A final look at the Six Nations table. It finished France in first, Ireland second, Scotland third, Italy in fourth, England in fifth, and Wales sixth. Moving on to football news now, and Arsenal's hopes of winning the Premier League title have been boosted after Manchester City were held to a 1-1 draw against West Ham United in the late game on Saturday night. City did get off to a positive start thanks to a goal in the 31st minute from Bernardo Silva, but just 4 minutes later it was the Hammers who responded thanks to a goal from Konstantinos Mavropanos. And that's how it finished, 1 goal apiece, and Arsenal, following their 2-0 victory against Everton earlier in the day, are now 9 points clear at the top of the Premier League standing. City do have a game in hand over the Gunners. Just a roundup of the other results from the Premier League on Saturday. It finished Burnley 0, Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 0, Brighton 1, and Chelsea 0, Newcastle United 1. In the Scottish Premiership, it finished Aberdeen 1, Falkirk 1, Celtic 3, Motherwell 1, Hibernian 0, Livingston 0, and Hearts' chances of winning the title took a blow after a 1-0 defeat on the road at Kilmarnock. Well, looking ahead to the games taking place in the Premier League on Sunday and in the Scottish Premiership, starting south of the border, Crystal Palace host Leeds United, and Manchester United face Aston Villa. Nottingham Forest take on Fulham. All those games kicking off at 2 o'clock. Meanwhile, in the 4:30 game from Anfield, it's Liverpool against Tottenham. Meanwhile, in the Scottish Premiership, Rangers will be hoping to narrow the gap on Hearts as they make the trip to Paisley to take on St Mirren at 12 o'clock. At 2 o'clock, it's an all Dundee affair. Dundee against Dundee United for that last game of the weekend in the Scottish Premiership. Moving on to Rugby League news now, and a roundup of the results in the Challenge Cup. It finished York Knights 56, Keighley Cougars 10, Goole Vikings 10, Warrington Wolves 78, Huddersfield Giants 12, Hull Kingston Rovers 52, Lee Leopards 16, Hull FC 6, Catalan Dragons 58, Oldham 0, and Castleford Tigers 8, St Helens 32. But that's all for now. We'll have more later. These are your latest sports news headlines. I'm Alex Jack. We start with the Rugby Union headlines on this Sunday morning, and in a sensational game at the Stade de France to complete a Super Saturday, France edged out England in Paris thanks to a 48-46 victory for Le Bleu. A thrilling contest, a Thomas Ramos penalty with the game all but done, securing the victory that France needed to pip Ireland to the title. Ireland beating Scotland 43 points to 21 in the opening game at the Aviva Stadium on the Super Saturday. Wales ended their long wait, 3 years waiting for a Six Nations victory. They beat Italy comprehensively at the Principality Stadium in Cardiff by 31 points to 17. A final look at the Six Nations table. It finished France in first, Ireland second, Scotland third, Italy in fourth, England in fifth, and Wales sixth. Moving on to football news now, and Arsenal's hopes of winning the Premier League title have been boosted after Manchester City were held to a 1-1 draw against West Ham United in the late game on Saturday night. City did get off to a positive start thanks to a goal in the 31st minute from Bernardo Silva, but just 4 minutes later it was the Hammers who responded thanks to a goal from Konstantinos Mavropanos. And that's how it finished. 1 goal apiece, and Arsenal, following their 2-0 victory against Everton earlier in the day, are now 9 points clear at the top of the Premier League standings. City do have a game in hand over the Gunners. Just a round up of the other results from the Premier League on Saturday. It finished Burnley 0, Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 0, Brighton 1, and Chelsea 0, Newcastle United 1. In the Scottish Premiership, it finished Aberdeen 1, Falkirk 1, Celtic 3, Motherwell 1, Hibernian 0, Livingston 0, and Hearts' chances of winning the title took a blow after a 1-0 defeat on the road at Kilmarnock. Well, looking ahead to the games taking place in the Premier League on Sunday and in the Scottish Premiership, starting south of the border, Crystal Palace host Leeds United, and Manchester United face Aston Villa. Nottingham Forest take on Fulham. All those games kicking off at 2 o'clock. Meanwhile, in the 4:30 game from Anfield, it's Liverpool against Tottenham. Meanwhile, in the Scottish Premiership, Rangers will be hoping to narrow the gap on Hearts as they make the trip to Paisley to take on St Mirren at 12 o'clock. At 2 o'clock, it's an all Dundee affair. Dundee against Dundee United for that last game of the weekend in the Scottish Premiership. Moving on to rugby league news now, and a roundup of the results in the Challenge Cup. It finished York Knights 56, Keighley Cougars 10, Goole Vikings 10, Warrington Wolves 78, Huddersfield Giants 12, Hull Kingston Rovers 52, Lee Leopards 16, Hull FC 6, Catalan Dragons 58, Oldham 0, and Castleford Tigers 8, St Helens 32. But that's all for now. We'll have more later. These are your latest sports news headlines. I'm Alex Jack, where we start with the rugby union headlines on this Sunday morning. And in a sensational game at the Stade de France to complete a super Saturday, France edged out England in Paris thanks to a 48-46 victory for Le Bleu. A thrilling contest, a Thomas Ramos penalty with the game all but done, securing the victory that France needed to pip Ireland to the title. Ireland beating Scotland 43 points to 21 in the opening game at the Aviva Stadium on the Super Saturday. Wales ended their long wait, 3 years waiting for a Six Nations victory. They beat Italy comprehensively at the Principality Stadium in Cardiff by 31 points to 17. A final look at the Six Nations table. It finished France in first, Ireland second, Scotland third, Italy in fourth, England in fifth, and Wales sixth. Moving on to football news now, and Arsenal's hopes of winning the Premier League title have been boosted after Manchester City were held to a 1-1 draw against West Ham United in the late game on Saturday night. City did get off to a positive start thanks to a goal in the 31st minute from Bernardo Silva, but just 4 minutes later it was the Hammers who responded thanks to a goal from Konstantinos Mavropanos. And that's how it finished. 1 goal apiece, and Arsenal, following their 2-0 victory against Everton earlier in the day, are now 9 points clear at the top of the Premier League standings. City do have a game in hand over the Gunners. Just a round up of the other results from the Premier League on Saturday. It finished Burnley 0, Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 0, Brighton 1, and Chelsea 0, Newcastle United 1. In the Scottish Premiership, it finished Aberdeen 1, Falkirk 1, Celtic 3, Motherwell 1, Hibernian 0, Livingston 0, and Hearts' chances of winning the title took a blow after a 1-0 defeat on the road at Kilmarnock. Well, looking ahead to the games taking place in the Premier League on Sunday and in the Scottish Premiership, starting south of the border, Crystal Palace host Leeds United, and Manchester United face Aston Villa. Nottingham Forest take on Fulham. All those games kicking off at 2 o'clock. Meanwhile, in the 4:30 game from Anfield, it's Liverpool against Tottenham. Meanwhile, in the Scottish Premiership, Rangers will be hoping to narrow the gap on Hearts as they make the trip to Paisley to take on St Mirren at 12 o'clock. At 2 o'clock, it's an all Dundee affair. Dundee against Dundee United for that last game of the weekend in the Scottish Premiership. Moving on to Rugby League news now and a roundup of the results in the Challenge Cup. It finished York Knights 56, Keighley Cougars 10, Goole Vikings 10, Warrington Wolves 78, Huddersfield Giants 12, Hull Kingston Rovers 52, Lee Leopards 16, Hull FC 6, Catalan Dragons 58, Oldham 0, and Castleford Tigers 8, St Helens 32. But that's all for now. We'll have more later. These are your latest sports news headlines. I'm Alex Jack, where we start with the Rugby Union headlines on this Sunday morning. And in a sensational game at the Stade de France to complete a Super Saturday, France edged out England in Paris thanks to a 48-46 victory for Le Bleu. A thrilling contest, a Thomas Ramos penalty with the game all but done, securing the victory that France needed to pip Ireland to the title. Ireland beating Scotland 43 points to 21 in the opening game at the Aviva Stadium on the Super Saturday. Wales ended their long wait, 3 years waiting for a Six Nations victory. They beat Italy comprehensively at the Principality Stadium in Cardiff by 31 points to 17. A final look at the Six Nations table. It finished France in first, Ireland second, Scotland third, Italy in fourth, England in fifth, and Wales sixth. Moving on to football news now, and Arsenal's hopes of winning the Premier League title have been boosted after Manchester City were held to a 1-1 draw against West Ham United in the late game on Saturday night. City did get off to a positive start thanks to a goal in the 31st minute from Bernardo Silva, but just 4 minutes later it was the Hammers who responded thanks to a goal from Konstantinos Mavropanos. And that's how it finished, 1 goal apiece, and Arsenal, following their 2-0 victory against Everton earlier in the day, are now 9 points clear at the top of the Premier League standing. City do have a game in hand over the Gunners. Just a round up of the other results from the Premier League on Saturday. It finished Burnley 0, Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 0, Brighton 1, and Chelsea 0, Newcastle United 1. In the Scottish Premiership, it finished Aberdeen 1, Falkirk 1, Celtic 3, Motherwell 1, Hibernian 0, Livingston 0, and Hearts' chances of winning the title took a blow after a 1-0 defeat on the road at Kilmarnock. Well, looking ahead to the games taking place in the Premier League on Sunday and in the Scottish Premiership, starting south of the border, Crystal Palace host Leeds United, and Manchester United face Aston Villa. Nottingham Forest take on Fulham. All those games kicking off at 2 o'clock. Meanwhile, in the 4:30 game from Anfield, it's Liverpool against Tottenham. Meanwhile, in the Scottish Premiership, Rangers will be hoping to narrow the gap on Hearts as they make the trip to Paisley to take on St Mirren at 12 o'clock. At 2 o'clock, it's an all Dundee affair. Dundee against Dundee United for that last game of the weekend in the Scottish Premiership. Moving on to Rugby League news now and a roundup of the results in the Challenge Cup. It finished York Knights 56, Keighley Cougars 10, Goole Vikings 10, Warrington Wolves 78, Huddersfield Giants 12, Hull Kingston Rovers 52, Lee Leopards 16, Hull FC 6, Catalan Dragons 58, Oldham 0, and Castleford Tigers 8, St Helens 32. But that's all for now. We'll have more later. These are your latest sports news headlines. I'm Alex Jack, where we start with the Rugby Union headlines on this Sunday morning. And in a sensational game at the Stade de France to complete a Super Saturday, France edged out England in Paris thanks to a 48-46 victory for Le Bleu. A thrilling contest, a Thomas Ramos penalty with the game all but done, securing the victory that France needed to pip Ireland to the title. Ireland beating Scotland 43 points to 21 in the opening game at the Aviva Stadium on the Super Saturday. Wales ended their long wait, 3 years waiting for a Six Nations victory. They beat Italy comprehensively at the Principality Stadium in Cardiff by 31 points to 17. A final look at the Six Nations table. It finished France in first, Ireland second, Scotland third, Italy in fourth, England in 5th and Wales 6th. Moving on to football news now, and Arsenal's hopes of winning the Premier League title have been boosted after Manchester City were held to a 1-1 draw against West Ham United in the late game on Saturday night. City did get off to a positive start thanks to a goal in the 31st minute from Bernardo Silva, but just 4 minutes later it was the Hammers who responded thanks to a goal from Konstantinos Mavropanos. And that's how it finished, 1 goal apiece, and Arsenal, following their 2-0 victory against Everton earlier in the day, are now 9 points clear at the top of the Premier League standings. City do have a game in hand over the Gunners. Just to round up the other results from the Premier League on Saturday, it finished Burnley 0, Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 0, Brighton 1, and Chelsea 0, Newcastle United 1. In the Scottish Premiership, it finished Aberdeen 1, Falkirk 1, Celtic 3, Motherwell 1, Hibernian 0, Livingston 0, and Hearts' chances of winning the title took a blow after a 1-0 defeat on the road at Kilmarnock. Well, looking ahead to the games taking place in the Premier League on Sunday and in the Scottish Premiership, starting south of the border, Crystal Palace host Leeds United, and Manchester United face Aston Villa. Nottingham Forest take on Fulham. All those games kicking off at 2 o'clock. Meanwhile, in the 4:30 game from Anfield, it's Liverpool against Tottenham. Meanwhile, in the Scottish Premiership, Rangers will be hoping to narrow the gap on Hearts as they make the trip to Paisley to take on St Mirren at 12 o'clock. At 2 o'clock, it's an all Dundee affair. Dundee against Dundee United for that last game of the weekend in the Scottish Premiership. Moving on to rugby league news now, and a roundup of the results in the Challenge Cup. It finished York Knights 56, Keighley Cougars 10, Goole Vikings 10, Warrington Wolves 78, Huddersfield Giants 12, Hull Kingston Rovers 52, Lee Leopards 16, Hull FC 6, Catalan Dragons 58, Oldham 0, and Castleford Tigers 8, St Helens 32. But that's all for now. We'll have more later. These are your latest sports news headlines. I'm Alex Jack, where we start with the Rugby Union headlines on this Sunday morning. And in a sensational game at the Stade de France to complete a super Saturday, France edged out England in Paris thanks to a 48-46 victory for Le Bleu. A thrilling contest, a Thomas Ramos penalty with the game all but done, securing the victory that France needed to pip Ireland to the title. Ireland beating Scotland 43 points to 21 in the opening game at the Aviva Stadium on the Super Saturday. Wales ended their long wait, 3 years waiting for a Six Nations victory. They beat Italy comprehensively at the Principality Stadium in Cardiff by 31 points to 17. A final look at the Six Nations table. It finished France in first, Ireland second, Scotland third, Italy in fourth, England in 5th, and Wales 6th. Moving on to football news now, and Arsenal's hopes of winning the Premier League title have been boosted after Manchester City were held to a 1-1 draw against West Ham United in the late game on Saturday night. City did get off to a positive start thanks to a goal in the 31st minute from Bernardo Silva, but just 4 minutes later it was the Hammers who responded thanks to a goal from Konstantinos Mavropanos. And that's how it finished, 1 goal apiece, and Arsenal, following their 2-0 victory against Everton earlier in the day, are now 9 points clear at the top of the Premier League standings. City do have a game in hand over the Gunners. Just to round up the other results from the Premier League on Saturday, it finished Burnley 0, Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 0, Brighton 1, and Chelsea 0, Newcastle United 1. In the Scottish Premiership, it finished Aberdeen 1, Falkirk 1, Celtic 3, Motherwell 1, Hibernian 0, Livingston 0, and Hearts' chances of winning the title took a blow after a 1-0 defeat on the road at Kilmarnock. Well, looking ahead to the games taking place in the Premier League on Sunday and in the Scottish Premiership, starting south of the border, Crystal Palace host Leeds United, and Manchester United face Aston Villa. Nottingham Forest take on Fulham. All those games kicking off at 2 o'clock. Meanwhile, in the 4:30 game from Anfield, it's Liverpool against Tottenham. Meanwhile, in the Scottish Premiership, Rangers will be hoping to narrow the gap on Hearts as they make the trip to Paisley to take on St Mirren at 12 o'clock. At 2 o'clock, It's an all Dundee affair. Dundee against Dundee United for that last game of the weekend in the Scottish Premiership. Moving on to rugby league news now, and a roundup of the results in the Challenge Cup. It finished York Knights 56, Keighley Cougars 10, Goole Vikings 10, Warrington Wolves 78, Huddersfield Giants 12, Hull Kingston Rovers 52, Lee Leopards 16, Hull FC 6, Catalan Dragons 58, Oldham 0, and Castleford Tigers 8, St Helens 32. But that's all for now. We'll have more later. These are your latest sports news headlines. I'm Alex Jack. We start with the Rugby Union headlines on this Sunday morning, and in a sensational game at the Stade de France to complete a super Saturday, France edged out England in Paris thanks to a 48-46 victory for Le Bleu. A thrilling contest, a Thomas Ramos penalty with the game all but done, securing the victory that France needed to pip Ireland to the title. Ireland beating Scotland 43 points to 21 in the opening game at the Aviva Stadium on the Super Saturday. Wales ended their long wait, 3 years waiting for a Six Nations victory. They beat Italy comprehensively at the Principality Stadium in Cardiff by 31 points to 17. A final look at the Six Nations table. It finished France in first, Ireland second, Scotland third, Italy in fourth, England in fifth, and Wales sixth. Moving on to football news now, and Arsenal's hopes of winning the Premier League title have been boosted after Manchester City were held to a 1-1 draw against West Ham United in the late game on Saturday night. City did get off to a positive start thanks to a goal in the 31st minute from Bernardo Silva, but just 4 minutes later it was the Hammers who responded thanks to a goal from Konstantinos Mavropanos. And that's how it finished, 1 goal apiece, and Arsenal, following their 2-0 victory against Everton earlier in the day, are now 9 points clear at the top of the Premier League standings. City do have a game in hand over the Gunners. Just to round up the other results from the Premier League on Saturday, it finished Burnley 0, Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 0, Brighton 1, and Chelsea 0, Newcastle United 1. In the Scottish Premiership, it finished Aberdeen 1, Falkirk 1, Celtic 3, Motherwell 1, Hibernian 0, Livingston 0, and Hearts' chances of winning the title took a blow after a 1-0 defeat on the road at Kilmarnock. Well, looking ahead to the games taking place in the Premier League on Sunday and in the Scottish Premiership, starting south of the border, Crystal Palace host Leeds United, and Manchester United face Aston Villa. Nottingham Forest take on Fulham. All those games kicking off at 2 o'clock. Meanwhile, in the 4:30 game from Anfield, it's Liverpool against Tottenham. Meanwhile, in the Scottish Premiership, Rangers will be hoping to narrow the gap on Hearts as they make the trip to Paisley to take on St Mirren at 12 o'clock. At 2 o'clock, it's an all Dundee affair. Dundee against Dundee United for that last game of the weekend in the Scottish Premiership. Moving on to rugby league news now, and a roundup of the results in the Challenge Cup. It finished York Knights 56, Keighley Cougars 10, Goole Vikings 10, Warrington Wolves 78, Huddersfield Giants 12, Hull Kingston Rovers 52, Lee Leopards 16, Hull FC 6, Catalan Dragons 58, Oldham 0, and Castleford Tigers 8, St Helens 32. But that's all for now. We'll have more later. These are your latest sports news headlines. I'm Alex Jack. We start with the Rugby Union headlines on this Sunday morning, and in a sensational game at the Stade de France to complete a super Saturday, France edged out England in Paris thanks to a 48-46 victory for Le Bleu. A thrilling contest, a Thomas Ramos penalty with the game all but done, securing the victory that France needed to pip Ireland to the title. Ireland beating Scotland 43 points to 21 in the opening game at the Aviva Stadium on the Super Saturday. Wales ended their long wait, 3 years waiting for a Six Nations victory. They beat Italy comprehensively at the Principality Stadium in Cardiff by 31 points to 17. A final look at the Six Nations table. It finished France in first, Ireland second, Scotland third, Italy in fourth, England in fifth, and Wales sixth. Moving on to football news now, and Arsenal's hopes of winning the Premier League title have been boosted after Manchester City were held to a 1-1 draw against West Ham United in the late game on Saturday night. City did get off to a positive start thanks to a goal in the 31st minute from Bernardo Silva. But just 4 minutes later, it was the Hammers who responded thanks to a goal from Konstantinos Mavropanos. And that's how it finished. One goal apiece, and Arsenal, following their 2-0 victory against Everton earlier in the day, are now 9 points clear at the top of the Premier League standings. City do have a game in hand over the Gunners. Just to round up the other results from the Premier League on Saturday, it finished Burnley 0, Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 0, Brighton 1, and Chelsea 0, Newcastle United 1. In the Scottish Premiership, it finished Aberdeen 1, Falkirk 1, Celtic 3, Motherwell 1, Hibernian 0, Livingston 0, and Hearts' chances of winning the title took a blow after a 1-0 defeat on the road at Kilmarnock. Well, looking ahead to the games taking place in the Premier League on Sunday and in the Scottish Premiership, starting south of the border, Crystal Palace host Leeds United, and Manchester United face Aston Villa. Nottingham Forest take on Fulham. All those games kicking off at 2 o'clock. Meanwhile, in the 4:30 game from Anfield, it's Liverpool against Tottenham. Meanwhile, in the Scottish Premiership, Rangers will be hoping to narrow the gap on Hearts as they make the trip to Paisley to take on St Mirren at 12 o'clock. At 2 o'clock, it's an all Dundee affair. Dundee against Dundee United for that last game of the weekend in the Scottish Premiership. Moving on to Rugby League news now, and a roundup of the results in the Challenge Cup. It finished York Knights 56, Keighley Cougars 10, Gould Vikings 10, Warrington Wolves 78, Huddersfield Giants 12, Hull Kingston Rovers 52, Lee Leopards 16, Hull FC 6, Catalan Dragons 58, Oldham 0, and Castleford Tigers 8, St Helens 32. But that's all for now. We'll have more later. These are your latest sports news headlines. I'm Alex Jack, where we start with the Rugby Union headlines on this Sunday morning. And in a sensational game at the Stade de France to complete a super Saturday, France edged out England in Paris thanks to a 48-46 victory for Le Bleu. A thrilling contest, a Thomas Ramos penalty with the game all but done, securing the victory that France needed to pip Ireland to the title. Ireland beating Scotland 43 points to 21 in the opening game at the Aviva Stadium on the Super Saturday. Wales ended their long wait, 3 years waiting for a Six Nations victory. They beat Italy comprehensively at the Principality Stadium in Cardiff by 31 points to 17. A final look at the Six Nations table. It finished France in first, Ireland second, Scotland third, Italy in fourth, England in fifth, and Wales sixth. Moving on to football news now, and Arsenal's hopes of winning the Premier League title have been boosted after Manchester City were held to a 1-1 draw against West Ham United in the late game on Saturday night. City did get off to a positive start thanks to a goal in the 31st minute from Bernardo Silva. But just 4 minutes later, it was the Hammers who responded thanks to a goal from Konstantinos Mavropanos. And that's how it finished. One goal apiece, and Arsenal, following their 2-0 victory against Everton earlier in the day, are now 9 points clear at the top of the Premier League standings. City do have a game in hand over the Gunners. Just to round up the other results from the Premier League on Saturday, it finished Burnley 0, Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 0, Brighton 1, and Chelsea 0, Newcastle United 1. In the Scottish Premiership, it finished Aberdeen 1, Falkirk 1, Celtic 3, Motherwell 1, Hibernian 0, Livingston 0, and Hearts' chances of winning the title took a blow after a 1-0 defeat on the road at Kilmarnock. Well, looking ahead to the games taking place in the Premier League on Sunday and in the Scottish Premiership, starting south of the border, Crystal Palace host Leeds United, and Manchester United face Aston Villa. Nottingham Forest take on Fulham. All those games kicking off at 2 o'clock. Meanwhile, in the 4:30 game from Anfield, it's Liverpool against Tottenham. Meanwhile, in the Scottish Premiership, Rangers will be hoping to narrow the gap on Hearts as they make the trip to Paisley to take on St Mirren at 12 o'clock. At 2 o'clock, it's an all Dundee affair. Dundee against Dundee United for that last game of the weekend in the Scottish Premiership. Moving on to Rugby League news now and a roundup of the results in the Challenge Cup. It finished York Knights 56, Keighley Cougars 10, Goole Vikings 10, Warrington Wolves 78, Huddersfield Giants 12, Hull Kingston Rovers 52, Lee Leopards 16, Hull FC 6, Catalan Dragons 58, Oldham 0, and Castleford Tigers 8, St Helens 32. But that's all for now. We'll have more later. These are your latest sports news headlines. I'm Alex Jack, where we start with the Rugby Union headlines on this Sunday morning. And in a sensational game at the Stade de France to complete a Super Saturday, France edged out England in Paris thanks to a 48-46 victory for Le Bleu. A thrilling contest, a Thomas Ramos penalty with the game all but done, securing the victory that France needed to pip Ireland to the title. Ireland beating Scotland 43 points to 21 in the opening game at the Aviva Stadium on the Super Saturday. Wales ended their long wait, 3 years waiting for a Six Nations victory. They beat Italy comprehensively at the Principality Stadium in Cardiff by 31 points to 17. A final look at the Six Nations table. It finished France in first, Ireland second, Scotland third, Italy in fourth, England in fifth, and Wales sixth. Moving on to football news now, and Arsenal's hopes of winning the Premier League title have been boosted after Manchester City were held to a 1-1 draw against West Ham United in the late game on Saturday night. City did get off to a positive start thanks to a goal in the 31st minute from Bernardo Silva, but just 4 minutes later it was the Hammers who responded thanks to a goal from Konstantinos Mavropanos. And that's how it finished, 1 goal apiece, and Arsenal, following their 2-0 victory against Everton earlier in the day, are now 9 points clear at the top of the Premier League standings. City do have a game in hand over the Gunners. Just to round up the other results from the Premier League on Saturday, it finished Burnley 0, Bournemouth 0, Sunderland 0, Brighton 1, and Chelsea 0, Newcastle United 1. In the Scottish Premiership, it finished Aberdeen 1, Falkirk 1, Celtic 3, Motherwell 1, Hibernian 0, Livingston 0, and Hearts' chances of winning the title took a blow after a 1-0 defeat on the road at Kilmarnock. Well, looking ahead to the games taking place in the Premier League on Sunday and in the Scottish Premiership, starting south of the border, Crystal Palace host Leeds United, and Manchester United face Aston Villa. Nottingham Forest take on Fulham. All those games kicking off at 2 o'clock. Meanwhile, in the 4:30 game from Anfield, it's Liverpool against Tottenham. Meanwhile, in the Scottish Premiership, Rangers will be hoping to narrow the gap on Hearts as they make the trip to Paisley to take on St Mirren at 12 o'clock. At 2 o'clock, it's an all Dundee affair. Dundee against Dundee United for that last game of the weekend in the Scottish Premiership. Moving on to Rugby League news now and a roundup of the results in the Challenge Cup. It finished York Knights 56, Keighley Cougars 10, Goole Vikings 10, Warrington Wolves 7.
Footed option. Will Hughes is standing near, but I don't think he's got any intent of taking this kick. Instead, he's shouting out instructions to the other players. But a big moment early on in this game at Selhurst Park. Can Brennan Johnson get Palace off to the good start? It's Johnson to take it. It's deflected off the wall and it goes over the bar in the end. And Crystal Palace will get the first corner of the match.
Yeah, it was always going to be a tough ask, wasn't it, to get it up and over. It's a decent effort. I think he tries to go over or maybe even round Dominic Calvert-Lewin. It's his head that it cannons off out for the corner.
It certainly is. It's going to be Will Hughes now to take this one as well. The Crystal Palace captain fought this afternoon, as mentioned. One of those free changes for Palace. Of Adam Wharton and Kamada, of course, in that midfield. So a full swap for Palace. We'll see how that one goes for them. A lot of this team playing 70 minutes or more in that Thursday night game. Hughes takes it. It's in swinging. Darlow gets the clearance. Maybe even one of his own players that's headed it in front of him. Aronson trying to get it forward. Justin will now get a more substantial clearance before Johnson hooks it back into an area. Again headed away by Calvert-Lewin this time. And it's a decent start so far from Crystal Palace. The majority of the game being played in the Leeds half. They've had the first real chance of the game as Justin now sends it towards that right wing. Calvert-Lewin up there with Cambo. Lerma will pick that one up nicely in the midfield and goes back towards his goalkeeper teammate Benitez. As I mentioned, a big afternoon for him, making his Premier League debut. Fantastic keeper at PSV. Hasn't been given too many chances to show that with the form of Dean Henderson this season. Now towards Mitchell on the left side. Good pass inside as well to find Gasson, who's surrounded at the moment by Roden and Ampadu. Goes all the way back for Lequan. Now Richards over towards this right side. Palace playing some good stuff in the early stages of this. Johnson and back towards Richards.
Yeah, you mentioned a lot of these players played in midweek against AEK Larnaca, and I think you can see that they're trying to start quickly, aren't they? I think they're trying to get that early goal so that they can settle down. They don't want Leeds United to start the quicker. Of course, substitutions will be key in that sense, but if Crystal Palace, I feel, can get an early goal, then they'll be the favourites, particularly at home, to go on and get all 3 points. Leeds just need to ride this waves of pressure. They're under the cosh a little bit, but this will help. A free kick.
Yeah, it's a cynical one there by Brennan Johnson, maybe looking to escape a booking as well, but Thomas Bramall, the referee for this afternoon, keeping his cards in his pocket for the time being. So Palace playing just 3 days ago. Leeds played last Sunday. That was an FA Cup game. A lot of those players have had quite a rest from that 1-0 loss against Sunderland last time out on the road. Could be probably regarded as one of the worst results of the season for Leeds. Goodmanson now under again pressure from Johnson. Back towards Stroud. Campadu in the centre. Has to turn and move if he can. Moves out towards Roden. Justin up ahead of him. He's preferred to Jayden Bogle this afternoon. One of the first times we've seen that, really, isn't it? I mean, it's usually Bogle on that right side, but Farke preferring Justin.
Yeah, I covered the Leeds game a couple of weeks ago against Manchester City, and I think they looked really tired in that one. They looked tired as well in the game against Sunderland, the defeat at home. I thought Justin in particular in that one looked a little bit leggy, and I didn't think it was right that Farke hadn't rotated his squad enough for that game. And of course they went on to lose, and they just looked really poor in that one. So I'm quite surprised really to see Justin. Of course he's had some time since then to recover. There's been the FA Cup game against Norwich in between the 2 Premier League fixtures. He doesn't like to rotate his squad very much, Daniel Farke. He likes to stick with what he thinks is his strongest 11. But yeah, I was surprised to see Justin in the 11.
Yep, and he's on that right side as well. We've seen him at centre back really, haven't we, for most of those games. It has been Bogle on the right wing back slot, so we'll see how Justin fares with that one this afternoon. He's had a quiet start to the game though, about 10 minutes in, still goalless at Selhurst Park, but Palace starting with the early intent. And take confidence as well from the fact of Leeds' form away on the road this season. They've won just one of their 14 Premier League away games. That came against Wolves in the start of the season. You just see it now, only 9 points away from home this season. It's been a real sort of topsy-turvy one for Leeds, hasn't it? Brilliant at the road, but can't really get wins on the road.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, home form was always going to be pivotal, but there has to be a balance. You can't lose every game away. It doesn't matter how good you are at home. You're going to be at risk of relegation if you're not picking up points on the road. And of course, they're quite fortunate that other teams have been just as poor away from home as well, aren't they? And of course, the likes of West Ham and Spurs have been poor at home as well. So that's definitely helped them out. But yeah, they need to. If they do stay in the Premier League, they need to change something next season in terms of their away form. Crystal Palace, on the other end, of course, have been pretty solid at Selhurst Park.
Yep, come Leeds now down the other end. Aronson just dispossessed that by Lerma. Good sliding tackle from him as Leeds look to mount an attack down that right side. Eventually it's sent out though for a throw-in, and it will be over on that far side. Metcher and Calvert-Lewin, dangers in that penalty. It might be too far back for Leeds to try the long throw-in with Ampadu. In fact, it's going to be Rodon taking it this time. It would usually be in the range that Ampadu could launch it into the box, but they're trying something different now. Finds Justin up towards the corner flag. Under pressure though from Camvo, who will eventually get his body in front of it and then send it downfield. Strand Larsen with the flick on, but Beale should be able to knock that one back to Darlow. Comes outside of his box, sends it long first time, looking for the run of Metcher. It'll just be too heavy in the end. It will go out for a throw-in.
Good pressure that from the front line from Crystal Palace. It's a poor ball back from Beale. You can understand he doesn't want to overcook it. He doesn't want to give Darlow too much to do and put him under pressure, but he actually undercooks it, and it results in Darlow just about squeezing it away. But because he's so high up the pitch, the Welsh international, he can't really try and pick anyone out. He just has to loft it forward straight back into the possession of Crystal Palace. It has just settled down and balanced out a little bit more in the last few minutes after that really lively start from the home side. Yeah,
that would be better for Leeds though. We'll have just wanted to try and limit Palace as much as they can. They've also won themselves another throw-in, this time a bit further up the pitch, and Ampadu is going across to take it, so I imagine this will be the direct one for Leeds. Roden, Strauch and Beale all making the run forward to get into the penalty area for this one. Of course, when these two sides met back in December at Ellen Road, Leeds won 4-1, and these long throw-ins certainly were a good weapon for them. We'll see if Time can repeat itself now. Ampadu leans back, launches it towards the 6-yard box, headed away by Lacroix and then Hughes as well. Justin now finds Goodmanson by the halfway line. He's no other option in the end to go back towards Carl Darlow. Hughes will continue the press before Darlow once again sends it long for that left channel. Strauch has stayed forward but loses out to Johnson. Picked up by Goodmanson under pressure from Sart. Turns the other way and again now back towards Anton Stack. Within his own half, goes for a lofted ball over the top. It's a good one as well for Calvert-Lewin. There's just a touch at the end though from Canvo, and Palace should be able to get away with this one through Lerma and eventually Johnson, who is playing on that right wing back position for Palace. Sends it long. Beale again, no option there. Under pressure from Strout and Larson. Sends it out for a throw.
It was an interesting signing, the Johnson one, wasn't it? I mean, there wasn't really any murmurings that he was going to leave Tottenham, because hadn't been there that long since his move from Nottingham Forest, and then hasn't really set the world alight at Selhurst Park, and now today playing out of position as a right wing back doesn't really suit him. He's better in a front three. I personally think he's better than Gasson. I'm surprised to see Gasson starting in a more natural position ahead of Brennan Johnson. Good ball in behind though for Strand Larson to chase.
Yeah, no, it's Palace's turn for the long throw option. It will be the American to deliver it as well. High looping into the area towards the near post. It's won by Lacroix as well. He flicks it behind him. Darlow unchallenged and he now rolls it out quickly. Can Leeds go on the counter attack? It's Joe Roden bringing the ball forward. Has Aronson up ahead of him. Takes it in his stride. Away from Mitchell. Eventually it's smart play from Leeds there just to not lose possession. Back again now with Ampadu in the middle. Across towards Strauch. They've worked this one nice over towards the left where Goodmanson can now get on his bike. He's not got too much support at the moment, so he's going to do it all himself. Good Johnson with a fantastic sliding tackle. He sends it out for a throw, and in line with the 18-yard box. So you imagine again it's going to be Ampadu to launching this one in. Stuff though there from Leeds, moving it quickly from side to side and then advancing down the left. It's going to be Ampadu, the Leeds captain, to deliver it. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I'm sure, will be waiting at the back post, looking to score a similar goal to the one he scored at Ellen Road when these two sides met last time, of course. Ampadu again up towards the centre of the 18-yard box, headed back towards where the Welsh midfielder is waiting. Now Goodmanson, he'll go for the cross from deep. It's a bit of a heavy one. Strout might win that. He knocks it down as well. Could be a chance for Calvert-Lewin. It's away. Stack heads it back in there. Header behind his paw. Aronson with the shot, and it's just wide of the post in the end. The first opening there for Leeds, and it falls to the American Aronson. And on that weaker foot, just can't quite get it on target.
Yeah, initially I thought Goodmanson was rushed, Josh, because his ball into the area didn't seem to be on. Pascal Strout kept it alive. Really good endeavour from Leeds to make sure that they win the ball back and Palace don't clear. It falls to Aronson with a little bit of fortune. It's a mistimed jump from Ismail Sarr. It's on his weaker boot, Aronson. You have to credit him going for it. Doesn't even think about a pass because there's none on. It'd be some finish if you found the back of the net, the American. It's a good effort. It's just wide, but it's warning signs for Crystal Palace, who started the better but have not really settled down.
No, they certainly haven't. 15 minutes gone in this one. It's still goalless, but Leeds just starting to show their hands in this game. As Palace now look for an attack. Ball around the corner from Gasson should be mopped up by Justin. Doesn't take any chances in going back towards Darlow, who then returns it, sends it long. Calvert-Lewin chests it down. Leeds win the knockdown again, though. It's Goodmanson now. Ampadu. It's getting a little bit contested there in the middle before Leeds spread it out wide towards Stack now on the left wing. Under pressure from Sass, so he flicks it back towards Pascal Strauch, and now eventually with Carl Darlow as well. Still no other goals though in the other Premier League matches. Kicking off at 2 as Beale under pressure there from Strand Larson. And I think he has won a throw-in off of the Norwegian, who slid in right at the end there. He's had good form for Crystal Palace. 3 and 5 for the Norwegian striker, who, as I was mentioning earlier, came very close. Well, maybe not came very close, but there was certainly interest from Leeds, and imagine if they'd have signed him and Calvert-Lewin up front, that would have been a deadly strike force.
Yeah, it would have been a very tall strike force, wouldn't it? I think those two up top. Nemecha getting the nod, though. We've seen at times since... I'll break off because here Leeds come.
Yeah, it's Metra as well. He's got past Richards. He tries to cut the ball across for Aronson. It's just a vital touch in the end from a Palace defender. Johnson not taking any chances, and it's out for a throw.
Yeah, he rushed it there, didn't he? Nemecha, much like Goodmanson a couple of minutes ago. I don't think that the pass was on. It's really good though from him. Just gets in front of Richards. I think he sees the run of Aronson, and he can probably feel the breath on the back of his neck from Richards chasing him. Feels like he has to give the ball away, but he didn't need to.
Ampadu now with the resulting throw-in again into that box. It's gone all the way through. Could be a chance as Richards slips over. Palace wanting a free kick. It's not going to be given. Sarnow's going to try and bring it away under pressure from Aronson. It's a good ball as well into Hughes, who's found a way past Stack, and now Lerma in the middle. Johnson. Palace under pressure inside their own defensive third before Benitez eventually clears the danger. It's high up towards Gesson. Beale sticks a foot in. Ampadu will now mop it up as well. Good challenge there from Gesson. In fact, it's not. It's a foul according to the referee. Gesson not happy with it.
It's one of those that 10 years ago would have been a good challenge, Josh, but if you go sliding in like that, it's going to be a free kick regardless of whether you win the ball or not. You mentioned that the chance at the other end, there's a load of pushing and shoving. I don't think anyone's fouled anyone really. It's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. 3 on the ground in the end, 2 Crystal Palace players and Metcha for Leeds. Dominic Calvert-Lewin maybe just barged into the back of Tyreek Mitchell, but I don't think it's a foul. Just no one on the end of it, luckily for Crystal Palace.
Yeah, it's Mitchell, isn't it? Who's got hold of the back of Metcha there. He wants a penalty. You could say that Calvert-Lewin had sort of barged in, though, so that might be why it's not being looked at by VAR. Goodmanson now back towards Strauch. Once again, Leeds starting to just dominate possession a little bit as Beale brings it forward. Heavy touch, but Gassan doesn't press him. Roden, first time ball now forward again, looking for the run off Metro. Will challenge Richards for it. The American should let that one go for a goal kick. He does so as well. 18 minutes gone, still goalless at Selhurst Park, but it's a good turnaround from Leeds. Obviously, Palace wanted to start quick. They've not been able to make the most of that, and Leeds now, you would say, firmly on top.
Yeah, definitely. I think, as I mentioned before, they would have liked to go in front as quickly as possible, Crystal Palace, because the longer it goes on, the more importance there is on the substitutes that they make later on, especially if it's 0-0, given that, as you mentioned, many of these players played in midweek. And it's been a long season for Crystal Palace in that sense as well. They didn't win a Premier League game that followed a game in the Conference League phase, so they really struggled to react to playing twice, 3 times weekly, really, Oliver Glasner's side. And we've seen that from a few sides over the years, but particularly this season it's been a problem. Spurs, of course, in Europe, they're right down there in the relegation battle. Forest in the Europa League, they too are struggling. So, you know, all these teams have got loads of money and they can spend that money to have big squads, but seemingly the squad's not big enough.
It certainly doesn't seem that way. So again, Leeds look to press down the right side. Justin brings it down superbly to stop it going out of play. Mitchell also does the same, but Leeds have won it back. Aronson down that right side now. Ball comes into the air. It's a good one over the head, though, of Calvert-Lewin. Goodmanson should just about keep this one in on the left wing. He does so as well. Great pace from him. Ball comes back in towards that far post. Leeds attacking it away by Mitchell this time, and then Gasson chests it down before slamming it clear. Strack will pick it up, though, on the halfway line. Leeds look to come again. It's all the away side for the time being. Viol out towards Roden, who's on the far side. Ball comes in from him. This time it's towards Calvert-Lewin, who gets his header on target. He's a bit too far away from the goal in the end, just on the edge of the 6-yard box. But a shot on target for Leeds. Yeah,
it's a shot on target. It's a great ball in from Rodon. Leeds aren't scared to put the ball into the area, are they? Because you mentioned Metcha and Calvert-Lewin up top, and although Strand Larsen's bigger than the former, the latter is huge, and he's a real target man. And it's a great ball in from Rodon from that right-hand side. Picks him out brilliantly, and it's a decent header, but a comfortable save in the end for Benitez.
Yeah, one that he should definitely expect to be making if he's wanting a clean sheet on his Premier League debut. We are past 20 minutes gone, though, in this first half. Neither side has found the goal just yet, but Palace have themselves a free kick just over the halfway line. So a chance for them just to regain some possession, really, after Leeds' dominance in the last 10 minutes or so. Campbell will try and play it down the line, and there's the ball through as well. Mitchell's got ahead of Justin. It comes into the area now. It's looking for the run of Johnson, or Strand Larsen even. Beale with the touch behind for a corner, and Palace almost in behind.
Yeah, it's not the greatest ball from that left-hand side from Mitchell, is it? The one to him is brilliant. It's between Justin and Rodon, who burst there backsides to try and get back, but Mitchell, I think, rushes it, tries to pick out his man inside the area. Strand Larsen, who'd made a good run, but it is a corner at least.
It certainly is. A few corners already in this game. Crystal Palace, nothing coming of them yet. Can they make use of this one? Most of the players crowding the goalkeeper at the moment. In fact, it's mostly Leeds players in that area. There's also Strand Larsen, Sart and Canvo near Caldala. The rest of the Palace players waiting a bit deeper in the box. We'll see what the delivery is going to be. It's floated in by Johnson towards the back end. Lerma goes up for it. He wins the header as well, but it's a tough one. Yeah, can't quite direct it on target. It will just go out of play behind for a goal kick.
VAR did have a look at the potential penalty, it seems, by the way, at Selhurst Park. I mean, we sort of knew nothing would come from it, Josh, didn't we? It wasn't a penalty. It probably wasn't a foul the other way, but if a decision had to be made, you'd probably go for the latter and say it was a free kick for Crystal Palace. But, you know, Leeds have put Crystal Palace under pressure since the lively start from the home side. I think Daniel Farke probably be the happier of the two managers.
Yes, certainly will be. I just want to see his side in front, though. I mean, They've done it quite a lot of times this season, Leeds, where they've gone in front in away games, but it's just about seeing the results out for them. Aston Villa springs to mind quite recently of when they did that one. Ball forward from Palace, Beale in a battle with Strand Larsen. Be interesting to see how that develops over the course of the afternoon. Ball now on the halfway line though with Lacroix. Under pressure from Lemaitre, finds it nicely towards Hughes and then Richards as well. Palace well within their own half as it stands, as Calvert-Lewin leads the press for Leeds. Lacroix across towards Canvo, and now all the way back towards the goalkeeper as well, who's seen a little bit of action so far in his first Premier League match for the Eagles. Richards just penning his own defensive third. Low ball out of defence. Strauch intercepts it as well. Can Gudmundsson get down the left side? He's fouled though anyway by Johnson. Foul may have come earlier actually from Strand Larsen on Strauch. Leeds have got themselves another free kick, and with that we are halfway through this first half. Neither side has found the goal just yet, but it is Leeds looking the most likely as it stands, with Crystal Palace 0, Leeds 0. It will be Tom to take us through to half time.
Cheers, Josh. Yeah, Leeds free kick just inside the opposition territory. Anton Stack, who no strangers to scoring from set pieces, but can't imagine they'll be shooting with this one. It's going to be a crossing opportunity. Both hands in the air from the German. It's a high, looping, lofting ball towards the penalty area, headed partially away by Gesson. Hughes underneath it, kept alive by Rodon, but the referee's arm is facing towards the left-hand side as we look at him, because it's going to be a Crystal Palace free kick. A push and a shove too many, according to our referee Thomas Bramall. Of course, this one of 3 games that kicked off at 2 o'clock. Manchester United 0, Aston Villa 0. A big game as it's concerned at the top of the table. Both sides looking for a Champions League place next season. Also goalless between Nottingham Forest and Fulham, which of course has implications at the bottom in the relegation battle. Here's Darlow inside his own area. Of course, as it stands, both Leeds and Nottingham Forest will be picking up a point. Crystal Palace 2, of course, but that means that Nottingham Forest will go back above West Ham, drops the Hammers back into the relegation zone. They had a real game of it last night against Manchester City, picking up a vital point at home. Here's Justin down the right-hand side. Aronson supporting, goes back down the line to the underlapping Justin. His cross is blocked and out for a Leeds corner.
Yeah, good move again from Leeds. Lacroix can't believe the decision really. He thinks it's a goal kick and then realises what the decision is from the referee. It looked a corner though, as Justin made his way forward. We'll see a better replay of it now. Justin up towards the edge of the box, and it's definitely off of Lacroix in the end, isn't it? It comes off his leg. There's
about 3 or 4 ricochets, but the last touch is definitely from the Crystal Palace man. And out for a Leeds corner on the far right-hand side. But the last one caused problems. It led to a VAR check. Nothing came of it. But Anton Stack will deliver this one. It's going to be swung away from goal towards a front post where Beale meets it. It meets the hands of the goalkeeper though, Benitez, who's firmly behind that one. It's another effort on target though from the Whites. It was Beale and Strauch in combination. It's actually Calvert-Lewin with the final touch.
Yeah, I mean, the positioning here from Benitez almost fooled me for a moment. He's really deep inside his own goal. He actually, I think the ball almost crosses the line there. He's that far back. And luckily for Palace, he's just about in the right place to stop it going in. I thought he'd really made a howler of that.
That's brilliant from Johnson down the right-hand side. He's won a free kick from Gudmundsson. He just lured him out of position there on that right-hand side. He's going to be a first yellow card of the afternoon as well. It's Gabriel Gudmundsson who'll go into the book. Brennan Johnson skipping the ball around him. Well, I said he's out of position, and he is, isn't he? He's at right wing-back, but if he does get the ball on that right-hand side, Josh, you know he can cause problems.
Yeah, he certainly can. I mean, there's a reason they paid so much money to bring him from Tottenham Hotspur. I think Gabriel Gudmundsson can be a little bit aggrieved about that one. I think Brennan Johnson made a much worse challenge on Gudmundsson earlier on in the half, but the referee didn't produce a yellow card, but does this time.
Yeah, I think the difference is the position on the pitch, isn't it? Palace right in the final third there where that challenge is made, whereas Johnson's on Gudmundsson. They were closer towards halfway. 26 minutes gone though, still goalless. You can see the wind is blowing the shirts of both players. Can't exactly be sure which way it's going. I'll get a look at the corner flag, maybe that'll give us a tell. But free kick now for Brendan Johnson to whip in. Left arm in the air, right boot at the ball, high towards the back post where it's met by Richards who hits one. It's Lacroix trying to keep it alive, goes back to Johnson on the right hand side. First time ball into the area is a dangerous one, nodded away by Justin, flicked away further by Gabriel Gudmundsson, and out for a Crystal Palace throw. Well, there's a real coming together there, and it was bobbling around. I think Richards potentially on target before the block.
Yeah, it could have gone anywhere though, couldn't it? That deflection, when it's so close to a goal like that, Leeds must have been fearing a little bit of a scramble ensuing, but they get away with it in the end at the cost though of this long throw into coming from Richards.
Yeah, Richards on the right hand side. It's pretty much where the free kick was taken from a couple of moments ago. Richards then throws it in towards the front post. It's nodded into the air by Lacroix. It's over the top though. Hits the roof of the net. Bobbles out of play for a Leeds goal kick. 27 minutes gone. Crystal Palace 0, Leeds United 0. The visitors looking for a win on the road, which would be a rare one. Only had one win away from home this season. That came against bottom side Wolverhampton Wanderers, a 3-1 victory. You mentioned the header there from Calvert-Lewin. I'd love to see the still image, Josh, when we get the goal line technology, just to see how close it was. Yeah,
I would as well. I mean, I don't think Benitez realises how close he is to actually stepping back there. Noticed it in real time, and they've just shown us the replay of it now. It was really dangerous goalkeeping by Benitez. If he'd have conceded in that manner on his Premier League debut, it would have been really a horrible moment from him. As it stands, though, still goalless.
Goodmanson throws it towards Calvert-Lewin. It rather bounces off Calvert-Lewin's head. Metcha keeps it alive. Poor first touch, but then tries to sweep it back to Goodmanson. Clearance from Brennan Johnson comes off the Swede, and it's out of play for a Palace throw deep inside their own half. Just under half an hour gone. It will be Richards to launch one forward towards halfway. Flicked on by Strand Larsen. Pascal Struijk's just behind it though, and it comes off the former Ajax Academy man and out for yet another Palace. So just working their way down the line on this right hand side. Oliver Glasner seemingly unhappy with something his players are doing. He's gesturing, gesticulating and ushering some words of encouragement. Johnson will take the throw. Casson's telling him to loop it over the top towards Strand Larsen. He does, but it hits the head of Pascal Struijk. They can't clear though as Goodmanson tries. It's Hughes underneath it. Stack fouls him, free kick. And the game's just got a little bit scrappy in the last few minutes.
Yeah, starting to be a bit more stop-starty, isn't it? Can see set pieces just starting to grow into the game for both sides. Leeds have almost just scored from Palace are getting a few down the other end as well. So it's breaking out a little bit after there was good flow to the game. And Palace now with another free kick. This one a bit further back than the one they've just taken. A bit more central as well. And Johnson once more to take it.
Yeah, Brennan Johnson about halfway into opposition territory will loft this set piece into the area. He's just having a look for movement from his players in red and blue. Players on their toes. Strand Larsen could be the obvious target. Johnson's low driven one towards the front post, just in underneath it, flicks it away, out for a throw, which will surely be taken by Richards. Not the greatest delivery. I think they're just trying to catch him off guard there. Yeah,
they were a little bit, weren't they? They're going for the sort of ball over the wall there. Didn't quite work out. Justin with not the most convincing clearance, so they probably wanted it to go a little bit further up the field. As it stands though, in line with the 18-yard box, and another long throw-in this match.
Yeah, Richards will take it. He raises his right arm to indicate something from the training ground. They've all been flat deliveries. This one's a lofted one. It's flicked on by the front post. It's into the air, not dealt with by Leeds. Battle for possession as Aronson nods it away, but only as far as JD can vote. Aronson again battles for it. This is brilliant from Leeds. Great endeavour from their back line. Lemaitre wins the free kick in the end. It wasn't the most convincing defending at first from Daniel Farke's side, but they survive and they're able to get the ball clear.
Yeah, it was Lerma, wasn't it, who made the run towards the near post, and a bit of miscommunication by Justin and Darlow, both of them going for the same ball. It's good battling though, isn't it, then, from Leeds, including Aronson and Metcha, just trying to gain as many yards as they can to eventually they win the free kick and they're able to get the ball back to themselves.
Under pressure there is Biol. His pocket was nearly picked by Evan Gesson. The referee's blown his whistle. There's going to be a yellow card there for Jakob Biol. I think he feels he's been fouled, and in being fouled, he's held on to Evan Gesson, who tried to wriggle away with the ball. It feels a little bit unfair. It maybe even be given for handball, potentially. I think that's really unfair.
I think that's what they've given it for, even though Gesson seems to kick Biol's arm into the ball there as he's trying to get onto it. So Biol gets his third yellow card of the season, second yellow card of this game. They've both been for Leeds players, and Palace now with another free kick.
Yeah, it's Hughes. He faked to take it quickly and short, doesn't, thinks better of it, he'll loop it into the area instead. 32 minutes gone, still goalless at Selhurst Park. Hughes, right arm in the air, left boot at the ball, high lofted towards a penalty spot, the heads go up, it's away from Rodon. It'll take a bounce and another one before going out of play. It's another throw in on the right hand side, almost in an identical position to the three previously for Richards to launch in, and these have caused problems for Leeds United's back line. They'll take these opportunities all day. Crystal Palace, Richards again will throw it in. Lacroix's up there. Lerma won the last flick on. Richards will aim that way once again. This one is a high lofted one, flicked on by Lacroix. Lerma misses the second. It's flicked away by Justin. Aronson will give chase to the loose ball. Mitchell will get there first on halfway. Takes a touch, puts himself under a little bit of pressure. Supported now though by Canvo. Back in towards their own territory as Richards has it. That was better defended.
Yeah, it was there. Just see Palace though, for the time being, getting back on top now. Leeds had a good moment of this first half. Maybe expected it to continue as it went on, but Palace have just started to take back in the last few moments. Good few set pieces. Again though, nothing of substance really being created by either team at the moment. They're knocking the ball around nicely at times, both of them, but yet to see any real chances as Roden heads the ball back for Darlow. Yeah,
Darlow then collides with Ismail Sarr. No foul, says the referee, as he bowls quickly out to Roden. High lofted one in towards the final third. Metcha will give chase. Lucas got there first. Dominic Calvert-Lewin tries to win it from him. That's a foul according to the official on that near side, on the far side for us. Went closest to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Didn't seem to be too much in that for me.
No, they seem to just go shoulder to shoulder there, did Calvert-Lewin and the defender. Maybe a harsh one again, that Leeds will think. Just seeing a replay of that other chance as Lacroix headed it under him. I'm not sure if there was a slight chance for a handball. It just comes off of Stack's thigh as it passed through him. So a little bit of a close one for the German, but nothing was given in the end.
33 minutes gone, Palace 0, Leeds 0. We're finally seeing the replay that we've wanted to see for about 10 minutes or so. It's very nearly a Dominic Calvert-Lewin goal. That the header, probably about 10 minutes ago now, was it, Josh? It bounces, Benitez lets it bounce, lets it come towards him, doesn't meet it, and it's probably, what, an inch, half an inch from being in?
He was the most casual person in the stadium, wasn't he, as he took that one in. I didn't realise how close it was actually on the replay. It's literally just about an inch away from being a 1-0 lead, so a real major moment there in this match. Probably the closest either side have gone to scoring. And thankfully for Benitez, though, he got away with one.
Well, because he's not played in the Premier League, maybe he thinks this is a friendly or something, so he's just so relaxed, Benitez. But yeah, kept it out, and that's what matters. Hughes from Mitchell's throw takes a collision off a Leeds man, out for another Palace throw. Down the line, this one from Mitchell into the channel for Sarr. Tries to get the better of Beale. Beale just kicks it off him, not once but twice. Hits the arm of Sarr. Play on, says the referee, as Hughes has it. Poked into the feet of Gasson. They've done ever so well to bring that down, but Leeds have won it back, then lost it. Here's Sarr. Tries to find Strand Larsen. Stack on hand and in the way. Canvo sees the ball hit him on the face as Dominic Calvert-Lewin battles for it out of possession. It comes off the Palace man last and out for a Leeds throw. It's not the best game, I think, from a Premier League perspective. If you were showing someone who was questioning the quality of football in the top flight, you wouldn't want them to see this, would you? It's been scrappy, very stop-start, a lot of set pieces. I don't think either side would be fairly pleased with the way that they've approached the opening 35 minutes.
No, they certainly were. I mean, I don't think the other games in the Premier League, though, for these 2 p.m. kickoffs are probably ones you want to show either. No goals still as we approach 35 minutes gone. It has been scrappy. It's physical and embodies what the Premier League's about nowadays, doesn't it? Really, a bit of a reliance on set pieces. Both sides using their physicality as much as they can. We can just hope though that there's some chances coming and maybe some goals.
Mitchell goes backwards short from the free kick. Under pressure there is Lacroix, manages to poke it back to Mitchell, who flicks it up into the air, goes over the top. Rather unconventional from Tyreek Mitchell, and he's lost possession. Here's Aronson on the right hand side. Then Mitchell gets a toe in, and it goes out actually off a Leeds man for a Palace throw, taken quickly. Beale meets it with his head, out of play again over the top of the two dugouts. And into the far stand as we see things. 10 minutes to go in normal time in this first half. Crystal Palace 0, Leeds United 0. No goals anywhere across the 3 Premier League games. Also action north of the border as it's the Dundee Derby in the Scottish Premiership. 0-0 in that one as well. Here's Brennan Johnson back across the halfway line to Richards. Richards all the way back to Benitez. Some pressure from Dominic Calvert-Lewin, but Benitez able to take a touch, then launches it forward. Back over halfway, where it's met by Pascal Strauch. Heavy touch from Metcha, one back by Palace. Strand Larsen to Gasson. This is good football. Here's Sarr, all of a sudden into the area. Ismail Sarr, tight angle shot, saved by Darlow. Still alive though with Johnson. The offside flag is up. That was Ismail Sarr, who was the wrong side of the defence. But Carl Darlow didn't know.
No, he didn't. It's a good save at the near post. Probably, the angle is definitely against Sarr there. It was a good move from Palace, but can see the replay. Sarr is definitely ahead of Rodon. Just catches Goodmanson out again, who's out of position. He's in down that right side. Darlow doesn't know it though. Save at his near post. Fairly routine for him to make, but still one that would have needed saving if it counted.
It was the second touch, wasn't it, from Sarr? The first one's decent. You can see Pascal Strouk coming to it. He can't do that thing that all strikers love to do in that situation and sort of step in front of the defender, but the second touch takes him too far away. But a good save, as you mentioned, from Darlow. 37 minutes gone, still goalless. Richards heads forward. Stack sends it back the other way, but then Lerma's underneath it. Here's Canvo into the feet of Lerma. His pocket's been picked by Ampadu. Now here's Aronson, edge of the area, right hand side. Drills it across the face of goal. Dominic Calvert-Lewin was lurking. There's a vital touch in there from, I think it's JD Canvo, before Benitez latches on top of it. It's not the first time that Palace have had the ball facing their own goal and a challenger's come in that's won the ball back high up the pitch. Here's Sarr up the other end, strong and fair and brilliantly timed challenge from Jakob Biel. He had to win that on the yellow card. Clears it up towards Aronson. It bounces past the American. It's won by Crystal Palace. Richards loops it into the air. Gasson underneath it. Rodon. Stack with the header. Now here's Aronson. Out for a throw on the far right hand side to Leeds United. The game has been played at a frantic pace. Yeah,
there's a good tempo to it. You always get that with Leeds games as well. It always feels like it is being played at 100 mile an hour with the pressing. That's when they're at the best as well. They're just sort of Ampadu stepping forward, just catches Lerma out. He's a little bit guilty of wandering on the ball. Can see what Aronson's trying as well. That ball towards the near post, right. Canvo with a fantastic bit of defending, just takes it away from the former Everton man, and then into the hands of Benitez, so they don't even concede a corner out of it.
Rodon with the throw just over halfway into opposition territory. Richards wins the header. Stack underneath it. Good first time ball to James Justin over the top for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Could have been in here. It's a brilliant interception and intervention from Brennan Johnson. Well, known for his attacking exploits, but been asked to play out of position today, and not the first time. He's had some brilliant defending to do.
Yeah, justifying why he's starting that position, really, isn't it? It's great defending from the former Forest and Spurs man. Calvert-Lewin, you think that he's just going to get ahead of Richards and get his strike on goal at Benitez. Instead, Johnson comes across perfectly timed, and at least we'll get a set piece out of it, though.
Yeah, still unsure which way the wind's blowing. That it clearly is. The flag's almost going left to right. It's like it's swirling around inside Selhurst Park. Will it have an effect on this corner? In it comes, flicked on by a Palace man. Away from danger for now, but Aronson will pick it back up, sweeps it towards halfway for Goodmanson. He's going to loft one in towards the final third once again. Up towards Jakob Biel, loses out to Richards. Ampadu with a vital touch in to keep it alive. Here's Stack into the area. Hits Maxime's Lacroix, and it's cleared away by Crystal Palace. It's a foul off the ball. The referees deemed it not, as Ampadu's able to play on. He gets it from Goodmanson. On halfway, Ethan Ampadu. Back to Goodmanson on this near left-hand side. He's going to have a run with some space in front of him down the left-hand side. Ball into the area looking for Calvert-Lewin again. Lacroix is equal to it. Sarr flicks it away. But it's a white shirt that picks the ball up once more. Biel on halfway. 40 minutes gone. 5 to go in the first half. Here's Rodon. Inside to Ampadu. Ampadu back to Biel. There's a bit of a press there from Palace, which forces Leeds back into their own territory. There's been a real momentum about this one, Josh, with 5 minutes to go before half-time. I think neither's been the better. Neither deserve to be in front, but they've both had spells. Yeah, they certainly have. Palace at the very opening, then it was Leeds, then it was Palace, and now Leeds have just started to maybe come back on top a little bit. It's been interesting to watch in that regard. It has ebbed and flowed a little bit, and the pendulum swung between these two sides. Again, though, still waiting for the real sort of major chances in this game. Could maybe say that Leeds have had the best of them, but at the same time, it just feels like there's a bit of a lack of quality out there at the moment. Strouk can't let the ball go out of play because he didn't quite have the legs. He has to muscle off Ismail Sarr and find Goodmanson. He just dinks it forward towards halfway. Calvert-Lewin holds it up. Brilliant from the former Everton man. Now Stack's there as the option. He's got Brennan Johnson in front of him. Leeds building. Great challenge from Maxime's Lacroix to win the ball back. Stack, though, didn't think so. He's hurt and he's gone down, but Palace come up the other way. Johnson, poor ball into the channel. That takes a bounce before going out of play. And it will be a Leeds throw. They just thought they were on the counter there. I think you think this is a foul, Josh. I'm not sure. I need to see it again. See Lacroix gets the wrong side. I think it is, to be honest. I think he kicks the back of Anton Stack's leg. We'll see a close-up and see if he has got any of the ball. He might just get a little bit of a touch on it. Either way, it's still through the back of Stack, and it's a painful one for him on just above his heel there. He's back up to his feet, thankfully not receiving any treatment, but it was almost an opening for Leeds, who looked dangerous. Yeah, 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, I think, is what Thomas Bramall may be thinking. 42 minutes into the game, still 0-0. Throwing down the line for Calvert-Lewin. Header well won by Lacroix, but the loose ball falls to Nemecha, Tries to go around the corner to Justin. He's asked a lot of the former Leicester man, who's done well to control it. Now here's Stack, Ampadu. Left-hand side for Strout to Goodmanson. He's got some space in front of him, but he goes for the early ball instead towards the Metro. Inside the area, headed away, but only as far as Justin. Back to Aronson. Edge of the area, here's Ampadu. Hits one, it's blocked. It's going to fall to Sharp to clear, but his pocket's been picked. Strout wins it back. Goodmanson into the box, looking for Calvert-Lewin. Again, Laquai's there. Ampadu keeps it alive. Here's Justin now on the right-hand side. Down the line to Aronson on the byline on the right. First time ball into the area is deflected out for a corner. They're causing some real problems, this Leeds front line. Yeah,
this is good at the moment from Leeds. Heavy pressure for Crystal Palace right at the end of this first half, and I think they've got to get a better chance out of that moment there, Leeds. It feels like they were really close to getting it, and it just sort of didn't fall for them in the end. Stack was waiting on the edge of the area as well. Ampadu with a good strike, of course, scored his first goal of the season against Crystal Palace back in that 4-1 win, so he's got a taste for scoring against the Eagles. Just didn't quite work out in the end. But Leeds have looked dangerous on set pieces, and they've got another one that far side to be taken by Stack.
Yeah, it will be an away swinger from Stack. The wind just blowing towards him by the looks of it. Right arm in the air, right boot at the ball. It's sent in towards the penalty spot. The heads go up. Beale, it bounces inside the box. There's a flick towards goal. Leeds players want a penalty, and the referee agrees. Thomas Bramall points to the spot. He took his time there, the referee. He had a little bit of a think about it. 3 or 4 seconds had passed after the incident. It's Will Hughes, it looks like, the Palace captain, who's potentially the guilty party. There's an obvious indication from Strand Larsen. He feels that there's been a push on Hughes towards the ball. Let's see what you think, Josh.
I see it there. Hughes comes up for it. I mean, it's an almighty scramble. I think this is a handball. His arm is miles up there. I'm not sure what he's appealing for. I didn't even notice it in real time, but the Leeds players had a big appeal for it. You can see that Hughes has his arm up. Beale maybe gets a slight touch to it, but Hughes' arm is up there. I think this should be a penalty.
Yeah, I've got to agree that the positioning of the arm is so strange from Will Hughes. There's so many occasions where you can defend the ball hitting an arm inside the box. If you jump in and you're using your arms for leverage, it doesn't look like that at all from Hughes. He barely gets off the ground, and his arm is straight up in the air. He's probably not blocking a goal. No, Beale wins the header, but he's probably not going to go in from the sort of angle and position that the header comes in from. But you just can't defend that.
No, you can't really. I mean, Palace players all surrounding Thomas Bramall, but I think he's got that decision right. Again, good spot from him. There was a sea of bodies in there, so maybe hard to see the arm go up like that, but it certainly felt like it. There is a VAR check ongoing. I can't imagine this will take too long, though. It looked fairly obvious from Hughes with his arm up like that in the air, the Palace captain, and it will give Leeds the perfect chance to score. Perfect time in the game as well, just before half-time, and no surprise, it probably will be Calvert-Lewin to take it.
Yeah, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He's on 10 goals in all competitions this season already. It's been a brilliant campaign. He has been a little bit goal shy since the turn of the year, but he's got a huge opportunity to put Leeds in front away from home. Dominic Calvert-Lewin steps up, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin's put it wide. Wow, what a miss that is. Well, he's been goal shy, and he continues to be so. Crystal Palace will feel that that's vindication, and Leeds United will feel that's a huge missed opportunity. It remains 0-0.
I mean, this is a massive moment. I mean, it's literally about a millimetre wide of the post, but you've got to hit the target from a penalty. You sent the goalkeeper the wrong way, and you've got to be finding the target from a penalty. If it's saved, then fair enough, but you can't excuse that from Calvert-Lewin. He's been great all season. He's been good from the spot as well for the majority. Just that one penalty miss against Sheffield Wednesday really early on in the season when he hadn't got going yet. And how big of a moment is that going to be in Leeds' season? Now, if they don't take 3 points from this, and then, Forest go and win, they're only going to be a few points off of it. These are the fine margins. Leeds could be in, though, right at the end of the half. Yeah,
Laquado there, once again, he's been brilliant in the opening half, but Leeds should be in front. You don't get a better opportunity than a penalty, really, in the game. Beale's made a foul. He's on a yellow card. Crystal Palace making their protest towards a referee that he should come off. There's 3 or 4 around him. Ampadu's defending his teammate. Well, Ampadu was immediately there to console Dominic Calvert-Lewin from that penalty miss. Daniel Farke making the point to the 4th official, Paul Turney. Big decision to make here, you feel, from Thomas Bramall. I think if he was going to book him, he would have done so already.
Might just be waiting for it to all calm down and for the players to get away from himself. He's had a long time to make this decision. Everyone on the pitch surrounding the referee at the moment, this half has ended in real drama, hasn't it? If Leeds have just nearly scored, and now they could be at 0-0 going down to 10 men.
Yeah, we'll wait and see. Beale's walked away from the situation, so I don't think he's going to be booked, but until play resumes, I imagine he'll still be a little bit nervous, as will Daniel Farke. Crystal Palace 0, Leeds United 0. They're still protesting, the Crystal Palace players, and the moment's long gone, really, you'd feel, for a second yellow. We're going to see a replay of it now. It's a ball forward from Mitchell. Beale goes across. No, there's minimal contact there.
Well, Sarr's holding his face, and I'm not really sure why. We'll see it now. He has a look and sees Beale coming. I mean, I don't really see what Sarr goes down for. It's very minimal. I think a yellow card in that situation would be extremely harsh. Sarr's receiving treatment on the floor. But, yeah, drama at the end of this first half.
Yeah, not sure what the treatment's for, because there is minimal, if any, contact on Ismail Sarr. It remains Palace 0, Leeds 0, but wow, what an end to the half this has been. Leeds missed a penalty given away by a handball from Will Hughes. He was booked, by the way, in the aftermath of that. I don't think it was for the yellow card. I could be wrong, but the referee didn't show it immediately. Maybe it's for what he said to Thomas Bramwell, but either way, he's in the book. Goodmanson and Beale also booked. There's a yellow card for one of the Crystal Palace bench by the looks of it. It's actually for Daniel Farke. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, he was in the ear of the fourth official, wasn't he, as that was all going on. I mean, he was right there, and in the fourth official's ear. I mean, he's no stranger to a card, is he, this season, Daniel Farke?
Well, yeah, usually so calm and composed, Josh, the Leeds manager. Sent off in the aftermath of the Manchester City game, wasn't it? Served his suspension in the FA Cup clash against his former side, Norwich, back on the dugout this afternoon. I can only imagine he feels that Palace are wasting time, or that they're gesturing too much towards the referee for Beale to have a second yellow, because the decision, he's given a foul, and I can understand that. He's not given a yellow card, which he should be happy about, so he must just be unhappy with the Palace players.
Yeah, I think that's all it can be, really. I mean, he was really annoyed with the reaction, obviously, with Sarr going down like that and everyone surrounding the referee. There's a few yellow cards, but both managers on a booking, and that seems to what it's been given for Palace. Have a free kick right at the end of the half, and this would cap off quite a few dramatic moments now if Palace can go and take the lead.
Yeah, Glasner booked as well. We didn't actually see the yellow card get shown to both, but confirmation that both managers have been shown a yellow card. Will Hughes will take the free kick, goes short, back towards halfway for Mitchell. Mitchell across to the right hand side for Johnson. Interesting from Palace that then do loft it forward towards Gasson. He's chested it down. It's evaded him at first. He tries to keep it alive, unsuccessfully so. Ampadu thinks there's a handball in there. 49 minutes play. We only had 2 added on. We've played way over the allotted time. Palace 0, Leeds 0. I don't know how we're going into the half-time with 0 goals across 3 games. Certainly not in this one after that missed penalty from Dominic Calvert-Lewin, but it is Palace 0, Leeds 0, and a penny for the thoughts of Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Will Hughes will feel a sigh of relief, you imagine, as the goal kick's taken by Darlow up towards Calvert-Lewin, takes a bounce over him and over Will Hughes. Good header by Canvo, great touch in the centre from Lerma. He's got a little bit of room. Then Sarr goes around the corner to Sean Larson. That's a good ball to Johnson, who's away there, but the referee's already blown his whistle for the foul by Goodmanson. And again, it's another foul from a Leeds man who's on a booking. Collided with Ismail Sarr, and he's going to bring the yellow card out. Is it going to be a second yellow? It is. I thought he'd already been booked, Gabriel Goodmanson. He has. The referee's not shown a red. This is an interesting one. Ismail Sarr's letting him know that Gabriel Goodmanson's already been booked, as is Maxime Lacroix, and he's going to have to show him a red here, the referee. He's already shown him a yellow. He's speaking to the fourth official. He's been booked twice and he's moved away, and he hasn't been shown a red. This is the most interesting thing I've ever seen. He eventually does bring the red card out. This is so strange from Thomas Bramwell. Well, what a first half this has been. He's booked Gabriel Goodmanson. The body language to me, Josh, would suggest that he has no idea. He's forgotten that he's already booked him. Would he have booked him for a second yellow if he'd have remembered that he'd already given him one?
I don't think he was. I think he's not going to send him off there unless the Palace players get in his ear and tell him about it. They're all making the point saying he's already been booked. I mean, Gabriel Goodmanson is going to be absolutely furious. I've not seen anything like that in the Premier League ever, I don't think. A first red card for Goodmanson for Leeds. I mean, it sort of reminds me of Graham Poole in the World Cup all those years ago when he sort of forgot to send the Croatian player off. He showed him 3 yellow cards and then finally sent him off. And Goodmanson makes that foul again. It's in the centre of the pitch. We'll see the replay of it. Sarr gets the touch there. Goodmanson slides in, takes his man out again.
It's not a yellow card, Josh.
I don't think it is either. You can see the celebration from Canvo behind the referee. He's absolutely buzzing with it, and rightly so. Palace could have been 1-0 down going into half time. It's now 0-0 and Leeds are down to 10.
The only thing I can liken that to from a refereeing perspective is many years ago when, I can't remember who it was refereeing, but he booked Kieran Gibbs instead of Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain for Arsenal, and there were players from both sides that clearly recognised what was going on. The half-time whistle has gone. It brings to an end an absolutely incredible first 45 minutes. Leeds United missed a penalty through Dominic Calvert-Lewin. It was given away by Will Hughes for obvious handball. Daniel Farke was booked, and then Gabriel Goodmanson was shown a second yellow. It took about a minute for the referee, Thomas Bramwell, to confirm that meant a red card. I don't think that he would have booked him had he recognised and remembered that Gabriel Goodmanson was already on a yellow. But that is half-time. It's Crystal Palace 0, Leeds United 0. Join us very shortly for a second half.
Half-time at Selhurst Park, and what's been a fairly uneventful first half for the most part has ended in real drama between Crystal Palace and Leeds United. We're going to get the break with the scores still at 0-0, but Leeds United have missed a penalty on the stroke of half-time. Dominic Calvert-Lewin sending the ball wide. It looked then like the half would just end at 0-0. However, Gabriel Goodmanson, already on a yellow card, made a challenge. Thomas Bramwell, the referee, showing him a yellow card, forgetting he'd already shown him one earlier in the half. After then being shown by the Palace players who was already on a booking, was sent off, and we've got real drama. Half-time at Selhurst Park, and what's been a fairly uneventful first half for the most part has ended in real drama between Crystal Palace and Leeds United. We're going to get the break with the scores still at 0-0, but Leeds United have missed a penalty on the stroke of half-time. Dominic Calvert-Lewin sending the ball wide. It looked then like the half would just end at 0-0. However, Gabriel Goodmanson, already on a yellow card, made a challenge. Thomas Bramwell, the referee, showing him a yellow card, forgetting he'd already shown him one earlier in the half. After then being shown by the Palace players who was already on a booking, was sent off, and we've got real drama. Half-time at Selhurst Park, and what's been a fairly uneventful first half for the most part has ended in real drama between Crystal Palace and Leeds United. We're going to get the break with the scores still at 0-0, but Leeds United have missed a penalty on the stroke of half-time. Dominic Calvert-Lewin sending the ball wide. It looked then like the half would just end at 0-0. However, Gabriel Goodmanson, already on a yellow card, made a challenge. Thomas Bramwell, the referee, showing him a yellow card, forgetting he'd already shown him one earlier in the half. After then being shown by the Palace players who was already on a booking, was sent off, and we've got real drama. Half-time at Selhurst Park, and what's been a fairly uneventful first half for the most part has ended in real drama between Crystal Palace and Leeds United. We're going to get the break with the scores still at 0-0, but Leeds United have missed a penalty on the stroke of half-time. Dominic Calvert-Lewin sending the ball wide. It looked then like the half would just end at 0-0. However, Gabriel Goodmanson, already on a yellow card, made a challenge. Thomas Bramwell, the referee, showing him a yellow card, forgetting he'd already shown him one earlier in the half. After then being shown by the Palace players who was already on a booking, was sent off, and we've got real drama. Half-time at Selhurst Park, and what's been a fairly uneventful first half for the most part has ended in real drama between Crystal Palace and Leeds United. We're going to get the break with the scores still at 0-0, but Leeds United have missed a penalty on the stroke of half-time. Dominic Calvert-Lewin sending the ball wide. It looked then like the half would just end at 0-0. However, Gabriel Goodmanson, already on a yellow card, made a challenge. Thomas Bramwell, the referee, showing him a yellow card, forgetting he'd already shown him one earlier in the half. After then being shown by the Palace players who was already on a booking, was sent off, and we've got real drama. Half-time at Selhurst Park, and what's been a fairly uneventful first half for the most part has ended in real drama between Crystal Palace and Leeds United. We're going to get the break with the scores still at 0-0, but Leeds United have missed a penalty on the stroke of half-time. Dominic Calvert-Lewin sending the ball wide. It looked then like the half would just end at 0-0. However, Gabriel Goodmanson, already on a yellow card, made a challenge. Thomas Bramwell, the referee, showing him a yellow card, forgetting he'd already shown him one earlier in the half. After then being shown by the Palace players who was already on a booking, was sent off, and we've got real drama. Half-time at Selhurst Park, and what's been a fairly uneventful first half for the most part has ended in real drama between Crystal Palace and Leeds United. We're going to get the break with the scores still at 0-0, but Leeds United have missed a penalty on the stroke of half-time. Dominic Calvert-Lewin sending the ball wide. It looked then like the half would just end at 0-0. However, Gabriel Goodmanson, already on a yellow card, made a challenge. Thomas Bramwell, the referee, showing him a yellow card, forgetting he'd already shown him one earlier in the half. After then being shown by the Palace players who was already on a booking, was sent off, and we've got real drama. Half-time at Selhurst Park, and what's been a fairly uneventful first half for the most part has ended in real drama between Crystal Palace and Leeds United. We're going to get the break with the scores still at 0-0, but Leeds United have missed a penalty on the stroke of half-time. Dominic Calvert-Lewin sending the ball wide. It looked then like the half would just end at 0-0. However, Gabriel Goodmanson, already on a yellow card, made a challenge. Thomas Bramwell, the referee, showing him a yellow card, forgetting he'd already shown him one earlier in the half. After then being shown by the Palace players who was already on a booking, was sent off, and we've got real drama. Half-time at Selhurst Park, and what's been a fairly uneventful first half for the most part has ended in real drama between Crystal Palace and Leeds United. We're going to get the break with the scores still at 0-0, but Leeds United have missed a penalty on the stroke of half-time. Dominic Calvert-Lewin sending the ball wide. It looked like the half would just end at 0-0. However, Gabriel Goodmanson, already on a yellow card, made a challenge. Thomas Bramwell, the referee, showing him a yellow card, forgetting he'd already shown him one earlier in the half. After then being shown by the Palace players, who was already on a booking, was sent off, and we've got real drama. Half-time at Selhurst Park, and what's been a fairly uneventful first half for the most part has ended in real drama between Crystal Palace and Leeds United. We're going to get the break with the scores still at 0-0, but Leeds United have missed a penalty on the stroke of half-time. Dominic Calvert-Lewin sending the ball wide. It looked like the half would just end at 0-0. However, Gabriel Goodmanson, already on a yellow card, made a challenge. Thomas Bramwell, the referee, showing him a yellow card, forgetting he'd already shown him one earlier in the half. After then being shown by the Palace players, who was already on a booking, was sent off, and we've got real drama. Half-time at Selhurst Park, and what's been a fairly uneventful first half for the most part has ended in real drama between Crystal Palace and Leeds United. We're going to get the break with the scores still at 0-0, but Leeds United have missed a penalty on the stroke of half-time. Dominic Calvert-Lewin sending the ball wide. It looked like the half would just end at 0-0. However, Gabriel Goodmanson, already on a yellow card, made a challenge. Thomas Bramwell, the referee, showing him a yellow card, forgetting he'd already shown him one earlier in the half. After then being shown by the Palace players, who was already on a booking, was sent off, and we've got real drama. Half-time at Selhurst Park, and what's been a fairly uneventful first half for the most part has ended in real drama between Crystal Palace and Leeds United. We're going to get the break with the scores still at 0-0, but Leeds United have missed a penalty on the stroke of half-time. Dominic Calvert-Lewin sending the ball wide. It looked like the half would just end at 0-0. However, Gabriel Goodmanson, already on a yellow card, made a challenge. Thomas Bramwell, the referee, showing him a yellow card, forgetting he'd already shown him one earlier in the half. After then being shown by the Palace players, who was already on a booking, was sent off, and we've got real drama. Half-time at Selhurst Park, and what's been a fairly uneventful first half for the most part has ended in real drama between Crystal Palace and Leeds United. We're going to get the break with the scores still at 0-0, but Leeds United have missed a penalty on the stroke of half-time. Dominic Calvert-Lewin sending the ball wide. It looked like the half would just end at 0-0. However, Gabriel Goodmanson, already on a yellow card, made a challenge. Thomas Bramwell, the referee, showing him a yellow card, forgetting he'd already shown him one earlier in the half. After then being shown by the Palace players, who was already on a booking, was sent off, and we've got real drama. Half-time at Selhurst Park, and what's been a fairly uneventful first half for the most part has ended in real drama between Crystal Palace and Leeds United. We're going to get the break with the scores still at 0-0, but Leeds United have missed a penalty on the stroke of half-time. Dominic Calvert-Lewin sending the ball wide. It looked like the half would just end at 0-0. However, Gabriel Goodmanson, already on a yellow card, made a challenge. Thomas Bramwell, the referee, showing him a yellow card, forgetting he'd already shown him one earlier in the half. After then being shown by the Palace players, who was already on a booking, was sent off, and we've got real drama. Half-time at Selhurst Park, and what's been a fairly uneventful first half for the most part has ended in real drama between Crystal Palace and Leeds United. We're going to get the break with the scores still at 0-0, but Leeds United have missed a penalty on the stroke of half-time. Dominic Calvert-Lewin sending the ball wide. It looked like the half would just end at 0-0. However, Gabriel Goodmanson, already on a yellow card, made a challenge. Thomas Bramwell, the referee, showing him a yellow card, forgetting he'd already shown him one earlier in the half. After then being shown by the Palace players, who was already on a booking, was sent off, and we've got real drama. Half-time at Selhurst Park, and what's been a fairly uneventful first half for the most part has ended in real drama between Crystal Palace and Leeds United. We're going to get the break with the scores still at 0-0, but Leeds United have missed a penalty on the stroke of half-time. Dominic Calvert-Lewin sending the ball wide. It looked like the half would just end at 0-0. However, Gabriel Goodmanson, already on a yellow card, made a challenge. Thomas Bramwell, the referee, showing him a yellow card, forgetting he'd already shown him one earlier in the half. After then being shown by the Palace players, who was already on a booking, was sent off, and we've got real drama. Half-time at Selhurst Park, and what's been a fairly uneventful first half for the most part has ended in real drama between Crystal Palace and Leeds United. We're going to get the break with the scores still at 0-0, but Leeds United have missed a penalty on the stroke of half-time. Dominic Calvert-Lewin sending the ball wide. It looked like the half would just end at 0-0. However, Gabriel Goodmanson, already on a yellow card, made a challenge. Thomas Bramwell, the referee, showing him a yellow card, forgetting he'd already shown him one earlier in the half. After then being shown by the Palace players, who was already on a booking, was sent off, and we've got real drama. Half-time at Selhurst Park, and what's been a fairly uneventful first half for the most part has ended in real drama between Crystal Palace and Leeds United. We're going to get the break with the scores still at 0-0, but Leeds United have missed a penalty on the stroke of half-time. Dominic Calvert-Lewin sending the ball wide. It looked like the half would just end at 0-0. However, Gabriel Goodmanson, already on a yellow card, made a challenge. Thomas Bramwell, the referee, showing him a yellow card, forgetting he'd already shown him one earlier in the half. After then being shown by the Palace players, who was already on a booking, was sent off, and we've got real drama. Half-time at Selhurst Park, and what's been a fairly uneventful first half for the most part has ended in real drama between Crystal Palace and Leeds United. We're going to get the break with the scores still at 0-0, but Leeds United have missed a penalty on the stroke of half-time. Dominic Calvert-Lewin sending the ball wide. It looked like the half would just end at 0-0. However, Gabriel Goodmanson, already on a yellow card, made a challenge. Thomas Bramwell, the referee, showing him a yellow card, forgetting he'd already shown him one earlier in the half. After then being shown by the Palace players, who was already on a booking, was sent off, and we've got real drama. Half-time at Selhurst Park, and what's been a fairly uneventful first half for the most part has ended in real drama between Crystal Palace and Leeds United. We're going to get the break with the scores still at 0-0, but Leeds United have missed a penalty on the stroke of half-time. Dominic Calvert-Lewin sending the ball wide. It looked like the half would just end at 0-0. However, Gabriel Goodmanson, already on a yellow card, made a challenge. Thomas Bramwell, the referee, showing him a yellow card, forgetting he'd already shown him one earlier in the half. After then being shown by the Palace players, who was already on a booking, was sent off, and we've got real drama. Half-time at Selhurst Park, and what's been a fairly uneventful first half for the most part has ended in real drama between Crystal Palace and Leeds United. We're going to get the break with the scores still at 0-0, but Leeds United have missed a penalty on the stroke of half-time. Dominic Calvert-Lewin sending the ball wide. It looked like the half would just end at 0-0. However, Gabriel Goodmanson, already on a yellow card, made a challenge. Thomas Bramwell, the referee, showing him a yellow card, forgetting he'd already shown him one earlier in the half. After then being shown by the Palace players, who was already on a booking, was sent off, and we've got real drama. Half-time at Selhurst Park, and what's been a fairly uneventful first half for the most part has ended in real drama between Crystal Palace and Leeds United. We're going to get the break with the scores still at 0-0, but Leeds United have missed a penalty on the stroke of half-time. Dominic Calvert-Lewin sending the ball wide. It looked like the half would just end at 0-0. However, Gabriel Goodmanson, already on a yellow card, made a challenge. Thomas Bramwell, the referee, showing him a yellow card, forgetting he'd already shown him one earlier in the half. After then being shown by the Palace players, who was already on a booking, was sent off, and we've got real drama. Half-time at Selhurst Park, and what's been a fairly uneventful first half for the most part has ended in real drama between Crystal Palace and Leeds United. We're going to get the break with the scores still at 0-0, but Leeds United have missed a penalty on the stroke of half-time. Dominic Calvert-Lewin sending the ball wide. It looked like the half would just end at 0-0. However, Gabriel Goodmanson, already on a yellow card, made a challenge. Thomas Bramwell, the referee, showing him a yellow card, forgetting he'd already shown him one earlier in the half. After then being shown by the Palace players, who was already on a booking, was sent off, and we've got real drama. Half-time at Selhurst Park, and what's been a fairly uneventful first half for the most part has ended in real drama between Crystal Palace and Leeds United. We're going to get the break with the scores still at 0-0, but Leeds United have missed a penalty on the stroke of half-time. Dominic Calvert-Lewin sending the ball wide. It looked like the half would just end at 0-0. However, Gabriel Goodmanson, already on a yellow card, made a challenge. Thomas Bramwell, the referee, showing him a yellow card, forgetting he'd already shown him one earlier in the half. After then being shown by the Palace players, who was already on a booking, was sent off, and we've got real drama. Half-time at Selhurst Park, and what's been a fairly uneventful first half for the most part has ended in real drama between Crystal Palace and Leeds United. We're going to get the break with the scores still at 0-0, but Leeds United have missed a penalty on the stroke of half-time. Dominic Calvert-Lewin sending the ball wide. It looked like the half would just end at 0-0. However, Gabriel Goodmanson, already on a yellow card, made a challenge. Thomas Bramwell, the referee, showing him a yellow card, forgetting he'd already shown him one earlier in the half. After then being shown by the Palace players, who was already on a booking, was sent off, and we've got real drama. Half-time at Selhurst Park, and what's been a fairly uneventful first half for the most part has ended in real drama between Crystal Palace and Leeds United. We're going to get the break with the scores still at 0-0, but Leeds United have missed a penalty on the stroke of half-time. Dominic Calvert-Lewin sending the ball wide. It looked like the half would just end at 0-0. However, Gabriel Goodmanson, already on a yellow card, made a challenge. Thomas Bramwell, the referee, showing him a yellow card, forgetting he'd already shown him one earlier in the half. After then being shown by the Palace players, who was already on a booking, was sent off, and we've got real drama. Half-time at Selhurst Park, and what's been a fairly uneventful first half for the most part has ended in real drama between Crystal Palace and Leeds United. We're going to get the break with the scores still at 0-0, but Leeds United have missed a penalty on the stroke of half-time. Dominic Calvert-Lewin sending the ball wide. It looked like the half would just end at 0-0. However, Gabriel Goodmanson, already on a yellow card, made a challenge. Thomas Bramwell, the referee, showing him a yellow card, forgetting he'd already shown him one earlier in the half. After then being shown by the Palace players, who was already on a booking, was sent off, and we've got real drama. Half-time at Selhurst Park, and what's been a fairly uneventful first half for the most part has ended in real drama between Crystal Palace and Leeds United. We're going to get the break with the scores still at 0-0, but Leeds United have missed a penalty on the stroke of half-time. Dominic Calvert-Lewin sending the ball wide. It looked like the half would just end at 0-0. However, Gabriel Goodmanson, already on a yellow card, made a challenge. Thomas Bramwell, the referee, showing him a yellow card, forgetting he'd already shown him one earlier in the half. After then being shown by the Palace players, who was already on a booking, was sent off, and we've got real drama. Half-time at Selhurst Park, and what's been a fairly uneventful first half for the most part has ended in real drama between Crystal Palace and Leeds United. We're going to get the break with the scores still at 0-0, but Leeds United have missed a penalty on the stroke of half-time. Dominic Calvert-Lewin sending the ball wide. It looked like the half would just end at 0-0. However, Gabriel Goodmanson, already on a yellow card, made a challenge. Thomas Bramwell, the referee, showing him a yellow card, forgetting he'd already shown him one earlier in the half. After then being shown by the Palace players, who was already on a booking, was sent off, and we've got real drama. Half-time at Selhurst Park, and what's been a fairly uneventful first half for the most part has ended in real drama between Crystal Palace and Leeds United. We're going to get the break with the scores still at 0-0, but Leeds United have missed a penalty on the stroke of half-time. Dominic Calvert-Lewin sending the ball wide. It looked like the half would just end at 0-0. However, Gabriel Goodmanson, already on a yellow card, made a challenge. Thomas Bramwell, the referee, showing him a yellow card, forgetting he'd already shown him one earlier in the half. After then being shown by the Palace players, who was already on a booking, was sent off, and we've got real drama. Half-time at Selhurst Park, and what's been a fairly uneventful first half for the most part has ended in real drama between Crystal Palace and Leeds United. We're going to get the break with the scores still at 0-0, but Leeds United have missed a penalty on the stroke of half-time. Dominic Calvert-Lewin sending the ball wide. It looked like the half would just end at 0-0. However, Gabriel Goodmanson, already on a yellow card, made a challenge. Thomas Bramwell, the referee, showing him a yellow card, forgetting he'd already shown him one earlier in the half. After then being shown by the Palace players, who was already on a booking, was sent off, and we've got real drama. Half-time at Selhurst Park, and what's been a fairly uneventful first half for the most part has ended in real drama between Crystal Palace and Leeds United. We're going to get the break with the scores still at 0-0, but Leeds United have missed a penalty on the stroke of half-time. Dominic Calvert-Lewin sending the ball wide. It looked like the half would just end at 0-0. However, Gabriel Goodmanson, already on a yellow card, made a challenge. Thomas Bramwell, the referee, showing him a yellow card, forgetting he'd already shown him one earlier in the half. After then being shown by the Palace players, who was already on a booking, was sent off, and we've got real drama. Half-time at Selhurst Park, and what's been a fairly uneventful first half for the most part has ended in real drama between Crystal Palace and Leeds United. We're going to get the break with the scores still at 0-0, but Leeds United... That's a very warm welcome back to this independent unofficial off-tube studio commentary of this Premier League clash between Crystal Palace and Leeds United. We're just about back underway now for the second half at Selhurst Park. The score's at 0-0, but quite literally one of the most dramatic halves to an end you will see in the Premier League this season. Leeds United awarded a penalty before the break after a handball by Will Hughes. Dominic Calvert-Lewin sending it wide of the post, and then Leeds moments later seeing red for Gabriel Goodmanson. It came in quite extraordinary circumstances though. Goodmanson already booked earlier on in the half, made a foul onside, probably not a second bookable offence. However, Thomas Bramwell, forgetting that he'd already booked Goodmanson, showed him the yellow card. Wasn't going to send him off until he obviously realised his error, and then was forced into sending Goodmanson off. Didn't look like he actually wanted to give him the second yellow card, but had to do it anyway after showing him the first booking. And that's where it leaves us now at 0-0 at the start of this second half. Leeds down to 10 men. They've made some changes instantly as well, quite unsurprisingly. Brendan Aronson and Lucas Metcher have both been sacrificed in place of Ilya Gruev and Jayden Bogle. I imagine James Justin will now move over towards the left side, and Bogle will take up his spot, whereas Gruev will just show it up for Leeds in the midfield. Still myself, Joshua Makin, alongside me Tom Wilson, taking you through this one. And Tom, an extraordinary end to the half, and it now gives Palace the advantage, you'd imagine. Yeah, I'm of the opinion that not every foul is a yellow card, and I'll stick to that with this second Gabriel Goodmanson yellow in the first half. At Palace now with a golden opportunity. Of course, still 0-0, and Leeds have that in their favour, so they've got something to defend, a point to defend, but it's a big opportunity for Crystal Palace. You mentioned before, a win puts them 10 points above Leeds and certainly gets them away from that relegation battle, barring some sort of miraculous run of results for teams below them, and a run of miraculous poor results for them. But yeah, it's a big opportunity to get all 3 points this afternoon, and you fancy that they'll take it. Leeds have made changes which makes them a little more defensively solid, but doesn't give them enough going forward, do you feel? No, certainly doesn't, as they send it forward, looking for Calvert-Lewin. I think that's taken a touch off a Crystal Palace man last as well, so it has done it. So throwing 2 Leeds to be taken by Ampadu, as the camera's focusing on Paul Tierney, this time not in the middle of a Chelsea huddle. He's on the sidelines at Selhurst Park. Ampadu with this long throw-in, though. It'd be great for Leeds to get this goal right at the start of the second half. It would allow them just to sit back. Ampadu, though, sees his throw-in taken away. Sada has his arm up, but nothing given as Palace now get on the counter-attack. Hughes slips it through for Gassan, who then puts Johnson through as well. Slack with the sliding tackle, does well, sends it forward. Calvert-Lewin is surely pushed there in the back by Lacroix. He's not, according to Thomas Bramwell. Now Mitchell will come away down this left-hand side. Back to Hughes. Ball hasn't come in yet from Palace. It's now with Lerma. Ball through the middle is a good one. Strand Larsen on the edge towards Sat. Trying to open it up. This is ball into Beale. Gesson then comes flying through. Heavy touch at the end. And out for a goal kick. There were no goals actually in the Premier League in those first half of the 2 p.m. kick-offs. However, Man United have scored really early on in the second half against Aston Villa. Casemiro has put the Red Devils ahead of the Villains in that third versus fourth clash. Still goalless, by the way, in the other game in the Premier League between Nottingham Forest and Fulham at the City Ground. And Palace there, just maybe overworking it.
Yeah, potentially so. And they should take their time now. Extra man means that there's going to be an overload somewhere. They just need to find it. They don't need to rush. They don't need to panic. And they don't really need to risk it that much. Of course, the longer it goes on at 0-0, the more Leeds will sit back. But if Palace can get that goal, they'll be in cruise control, you feel.
Yeah, it would be hard to see them not getting all 3 points if they do score the first goal of this one. Can't imagine there's going to be many goals in it. Just the one goal probably will do it for either side. Darlow sends it up. Calvert-Lewin. Touch there towards Gruev, but it cannons off the Bulgarian's shins and now into the path of Tyrick Mitchell. Now over towards Cambo on the edge of his own area. Also been in a goal in the game in the Scottish Premiership. Dundee United have taken the lead in the derby against Dundee FC. They're the away team in that one as well. Lacroix now across towards Richards as we approach 5 minutes gone in the second half at Selhurst Park. Still 0-0. Palace looking to put Leeds under some serious pressure. It's with Lacroix. Across now towards Richards. Johnson waiting for it on the right side. Johnson's now going to advance forward. He plays it in towards the centre. Tampadu mops it up nicely though ahead of Sarr. Sends it long and hopeful. I mean, that's going to be the tactic now, isn't it, for Leeds? Dominic Calvert-Lewin is going to have to do quite a lot of pressing and aerial winning if he's going to get any sort of joy in this second half.
Yeah, you'd think so, wouldn't you? I mean, set pieces are going to be even more crucial for Leeds than they were before. If they can get some long throws or some free kicks or corners, they'll be absolutely delighted, but it's going to be backs against the wall.
Certainly is. Lerma cross now towards Richards. And Palace being patient with their build-up, understandably so. Lacroix now finds Hughes over on the left side. He's going to drive towards the left before finding Tyrick Mitchell. Now up against Jayden Bogle. In towards the centre where Lerma is waiting. Cross now towards the back is a decent looking delivery. Strout wins it though. Gruev should get this one clear. In fact, he doesn't after the flag has already gone up on that far side for an offside. So Leeds will get the chance now just to reset themselves again with Carl Darlow. As I mentioned, no changes for Crystal Palace, so their lineup is still the same. It's Benitez in goal, back threes Richards, Lacroix and Cambo. It's then Mitchell, Lerma, Hughes and Johnson in the midfield with Sarr and Gesson either side of Strand Larsen for Leeds. Darlow is the goalkeeper. It's Rodon, Beale and Strout still as the back three. Beale on a yellow card. Goodmanson has been sent off, so he's not in the game anymore. So it'll be Justin on the left side. Ampadu and Stack still in the middle alongside Gruev. Bogle on the right with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, the lone striker. Here's Justin out up the other end for Leeds, looking to have a run at Lerma. He does well, the former Leicester man, plays it off of the midfielder, out for a throw in line with the 18-yard box. This is probably going to be the best chances that Leeds are going to have of scoring in this game. He can still use the good aerial ability they've got on the field, in the likes of Beale, Calvert-Lewin as well. So they've all gone forward for this one, including Rodon and Strauch. Ampadu eventually launches it into the area towards that near post. Should be an easy one for Benitez in the end. He does. He gets a lot of distance on it, Ampadu, but easy for Benitez.
Too much distance on it, wasn't it? Straight towards the goalkeeper. It was a really impressive throw, but not overly accurate.
Certainly wasn't. It's now with Darlow. Now Justin. Leeds have just had some decent spell of possession the last couple of moments or so. Beale out now towards Stack. He's got Bogle for support, but he goes long instead, looking for Calvert-Lewin, who's looking isolated. He does well in the challenge with Lacroix. He's got Rodon supporting now. Palace play it across their own back line. Justin thinks about trying to nip in for the interception. Doesn't work out though. Stack will now press Cambo. Leaves it late. It's a poor ball as well, and Bogle intercepts. Stack plays it at the top now. Could be a chance for Leeds. Bogle up towards the byline. Touch lets him down, and Lacroix just puts his body in the way of it. Jayden Bogle just on the pitch. His touch just got away from him there. Yeah,
maybe he didn't expect the ball to come straight back, Josh. Stack hits it first time. And round the corner, the touch just gets away from him, doesn't it, Bogle? He seemed to really skid off the surface. I mean, it looks fairly dry at Selhurst Park, but I mean, the touch just ran away from him.
Almost an opening though for Leeds, who haven't started too badly in this second half. Palace will know that time is on their side though. Again, it's now Lerma. Hughes over towards that right side. Johnson waiting for it as well. He found the Welshman. Now back towards Hughes in the centre. And guilty of giving away that penalty in the first half, which Leeds didn't make the most of. Calvert-Lewin sending it wide, not forcing Benitez into a Premier League debut penalty save. It's Cambo just ahead of the halfway line now, looking to move forward. Wind is still blowing quite heavily at Selhurst Park. It looks like it is blowing from left to right, but as Tom mentioned in the first half, kind of hard to tell at times. Just seems to be swirling around at Selhurst Park as Richards now surges forward. Good looking ball for Strand Larsen, who tries to get onto the end of it. It's too heavy though, and into the hands of Darlow.
Yeah, it's a decent idea, but again, I think Palace can be a little bit more patient than that. They seem desperate whenever they get the ball, Josh, to get it into the final third as quickly as possible. They've got the extra man and they've got time on their side as well. It just seems a little bit of a risk to try and throw it forward like that when they don't need to.
Bogle now well within his own half, again chooses the safe option in the form of Darlow, now sending it long for Calvert-Lewin to try and put Cambo under pressure. Great touch though from the Frenchman, just takes it away from the former New England international. Gruev now sliding there in the middle, he wins it off of Hughes as well. Can Strout now move forward for Leeds? Good dribbling from his tapped down there by Brennan Johnson. Surely this will be a yellow card now for Brennan Johnson. He's had a few let-offs already in this game, and Thomas Bramall shows his first yellow card to a Palace player. Yeah,
he's fairly confident that he hasn't booked him already, I think, Josh. He's got that one right there, Thomas Bramall. Yeah, a foul on Pascal Struijk, who's done really well actually. He's skipped past a couple of challenges. I think for a centre half, because he's come through at the Ajax academy, the Dutch centre back, he's got really good feet. He's really technically a good player, I think, at this level, and just skips past Brennan Johnson now, who's actually to this point defended quite well.
Yeah, he has just lost track of Struijk there, who has gone forward for this set piece. It's going to be Stack to deliver it. Maybe too far out for the strike, but he floats it into the box now. Beale attacking it as well. He does win the header. However, can't direct it on target. Half-hearted appeals for a corner. That's the threat there of Jacques Beale, maybe just a bit too far away from the goal there.
Yeah, I was fairly surprised to see when I saw two players coming on for Leeds at half-time, Josh, that he wasn't the other going off. Jacques Beale, because he's on a yellow, and of course the last thing Daniel Farke will want is another red card. But he's trusted his centre-back to go out there and not make a mistake. And of course they have to be disciplined in this second half, Leeds.
Yeah, 10 minutes into this second half as well, still goalless, and Leeds have done well so far to stay that they have got the 10 men. If you'd just started watching this game and didn't know who had the red card, you may think it would be Crystal Palace, but they are on the ball now with Guesson down this left side. Stack sticks a foot in, but Guesson keeps on his run anyway. Stack over the back of him. Ampadu now slides in with the challenge. He's won it fairly as well. Great challenge from the Welshman. He's now looking to get Leeds on the counter-attack. Justin's made the move over towards that left wing. Richards comes across though. It's good from the American, who then finds it back towards Benitez. Could be an awkward one, but he hits it on the half volley into the middle. Strand Larsen picks it up. Ampadu dispossesses him. It's going to be a free kick to Leeds though. Strand Larsen with the foul this time in the middle. He's definitely not being booked. Thomas Bramall not going to his cards. Leeds do get the free kick though, and yeah, they have started pretty well in this second half.
Yeah, they don't look like a side, Josh, that have one less player, do they? Leeds United. They've started probably the better. I think they were maybe just the better in the first half. Of course, they had the penalty, and you'd say because they had the penalty, maybe that they should have been in front. But on the balance of play, they have just edged it, and yeah, they look fairly comfortable for a team with 10.
Stack now with this free kick up towards the area. It's headed by Strout. Lerman with the clearance out towards Justin on the edge of the area. He goes for the strike. A wild effort though from the England international. What's had a taste for goals so far this season. However, can't keep his effort down, and it's safely into the stands.
Yeah, you always hit them, I think, if you're James Justin, if you're anyone in that situation. But the challenge of Will Hughes, he's just in front of him. He's just too close. I think it means James Justin has to sort of curl it round him, and he never really catches it right. But yeah, Crystal Palace, I think they could do with just waking up a little bit here. They need something. I get the sense maybe if Leeds score, that would bring them out their shell a little bit. Of course, they don't want to concede, but they certainly could be better, the hosts.
Yeah, it's not been too great from Oliver Glaston's side, especially in this second half. He won't be happy with what he's seen. The German, who is still on course, of course, to leave Crystal Palace at the end of the season. Not sure if they've made any attempt since to convince him to stay, with things going a little bit better in recent times. Had that great win over Tottenham last time out, that 3-1 victory. Sarr now across towards Hughes in the centre. It's a poor ball though. Calvert-Lewin nips in. Tackle is made, but Leeds still have possession with Gruev. Now for Struijk. Long ball forward in search of Calvert-Lewin. As he got there to the defenders, crucial header from Lacroix. Hughes now under pressure from Gruev. Leeds sending players forward, perhaps seeing the chance now to get themselves an opening goal. However, it's not going to fall for them just yet. Lacroix now has it again for Palace. Now with Cambo. bringing the ball out slowly of his own defence. Still waiting for the run to be made. Leeds player standing off for now. He eventually makes it and looks for Strand Larsen, who's sticking a foot out at it, but it's too far in front of him, and he's certainly been quiet so far, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. I mean, you could say that about quite a few players, couldn't you, from the home side? They've not been at their best.
They certainly haven't. Looks like there has been a goal though at the City Ground, a big one in the battle for promotion. However, Leeds could be in here. Justin over towards the byline, cuts it across. It's good play from him. Lequard just about gets back. It leads to a corner. In fact, it doesn't. Justin was offside in the build-up, so no set-piece chance on this occasion for the Whites. Jean-Philippe Mateta is being ready to come on for Crystal Palace. Almost made that move to Milan in January and has barely seen any minutes, really, if any, so far since that happened. He's going to get some now, though, in this game. As I was mentioning, Nottingham Forest have taken the lead at home to Fulham, a huge goal in the battle for survival. It's Ndoye, the summer signing, who's put the Reds ahead in that one. So more bad news for Leeds, really. And then at Old Trafford as well, Aston Villa have found an equaliser. Ross Barkley has levelled things up, so it's Man United 1, Aston Villa 1. Could Palace be in now down the other end? It's Gassan on the edge of the area, across towards Johnson in space. Ball comes in towards the back post, too much on it in the end. Mitchell will try and fail to keep it in.
Yeah, it's a poor ball in, isn't it, Johnson? He started the game quite well and he's defended well at times, but again, Crystal Palace just not making the most of the extra man. Need to move the ball a little bit smarter. Need to calm down a little bit, you feel. Just under an hour gone. They're going to go to the bench, as you mentioned. Well, Mateta was booed by the Palace players, the Palace fans, sorry, when he came on against AEK Larnaca. We don't have the benefit of audio inside Selhurst Park this afternoon, but I would be very intrigued to see the reaction.
Yeah, so would I. Just to confirm that Will Hughes has come off in place of Adam Wharton as well, so that's one of the substitutes for Crystal Palace. Not a bad player to be able to bring on. I believe Nottingham Forest goal has actually been ruled out for an offside in that game at the City Ground, so it's still goalless between Forest and Fulham. Aston Villa's goal is also being checked by VAR. Strand Larsen, just been mentioning how quiet he is, though. He's the man to be replaced by Mateta. I
think that's a really smart change. Hughes been booked off, he goes, and Wharton coming on. He's a better technical player. It's at a time in the game where Crystal Palace just need to keep their heads and keep the ball, and as I say, just be a bit more patient, move it a little bit better. Adam Wharton can certainly bring them that, and then if they do get an opportunity, Jean-Philippe Mateta, I'm sure, will take it.
Yep, and here he is on the ball now as well. He's just dragged a little bit by Strap, but no free kick given. Mateta with a good ball inside as well to find Lerma. Moving up towards the edge of the box. Ampadu is across to him though. So is Stack, who then sends it long looking for Calvert-Lewin. He's going to have to do a lot of running in the final half hour of this game with the score still level. And it is for the moment. Palace just starting to ask a little bit of questions for Leeds. 7 yellows in this match so far, by the way, including the 2 for Goodmanson and 1 for each of the managers as well. So it's very tetchy out there. Sarr now picks the ball up on the left wing, moves inside. Ball to Lerma, just snuffed out by Ampadu. Lerma back towards Cambo, looking for the next option, moves it for Mitchell. Up against Bogle now. Mitchell looking to get round the outside, puts it across goal, and poor ball in the end. It's easy for Ampadu, just finds Stack. They don't make Calvert-Lewin, then brought down by Lequard as Leeds tried to get away. And moments like that will certainly suit Leeds.
Ethan Ampadu's been brilliant. He's been nothing short of perfect, Josh, in the 62 that we've played so far. He gets a challenge in just as Palace are trying to break on that right hand side a couple of minutes ago and stops him in their tracks. Crystal Palace then tried to rework it down this left, but as you say, good defending once again from the visitors. Not as defensive as I thought they would be, Leeds. We said that they started the second half the better. I just thought as we approach this sort of hour mark and as we approach the final quarter, will we see them sit further and further back? They aren't, and that is going to be to their benefit because the more that they sit back, the more pressure they invite. If they can keep the ball, if they can control possession, they can control the narrative.
Certainly can, as it goes forward. Cambo, no other option than just to send that one out for a throw. So again, it's Leeds high up the pitch. Can they make moves of this good start to the second half that they've had? Palace have had 76% of the ball so far in the second half, but only 1 attempt, none on target as well. So Leeds doing a job of it for now. Ampadu taking this long throw in front of those Leeds United supporters in that bottom right corner of the ground. Wheeled on by the West Yorkshire Travelling's faithful. Ampadu long throw in again. He's got plenty of distance. Rodden wins it behind as well. Benitez comes out and punches it only as far as Stack. He heads it back into the area, this time away by Sarr. Wharton will now try and get away, but Justin mops up now for Ampadu again. Rodon's on his bike down that right wing. It's a great ball from Ampadu, and Rodon could be on to the end of this one. Under pressure from Canvo. He's got not really much support, but he still finds it. Stack now in the box by the byline. Cuts it across. Could be there for Calvert-Lewin. Clearance eventually comes from Canvo. And it's all Leeds United, you have to say, at the moment.
Well, I don't think Rodon's trying to find anyone, Josh. I think he's trying to win a corner. He just flicks it back, and luckily for him, it stays in. And luckily for him, Anton Stack is on hand to win the ball. He fires it across the face of goal. It's the only thing he can do, really. And luckily for Crystal Palace, there's a man in the way. Brilliant, though, from Rodon. Great from Stack, and good endeavour, though, from Crystal Palace to clear the ball away.
Yeah, good work from Rodon. Really penned in there for the moment. And just seeing as well, a bit of a mixed reaction, it seems, for Jean-Philippe Mateta. A few applauses, but very audible boos as well. It's his first Premier League appearance since the 25th of January. So it would be a perfect time to score. They probably won't be booing if he does go and score and wins Palace this game. Just seeing the replay of it there. A few bodies in the way, and Richards comes off worse. It's
always an interesting one, isn't it? Because they've, of course, brought Strand Larsen in. And they probably brought him in because they thought the Mateta transfer was going to go through. Instead, he acts as a replacement, but then what do they do with Mateta? You know, all the money that they'll be paying him. They don't just want to leave him out of the squads just because he wanted to move away. Might as well use him. Of course, he's been injured, and back he comes. Will he be at his best? We're not sure. Will he move away in the summer? Probably. So it is a weird one. I mean, they're pretty much out of the relegation battle regardless of the result today, you feel. 10 points above the drop zone at the minute as results stand. But yeah, they of course don't just want to leave him out, and from a personal perspective, I don't think he'll want to be left out either. Hopefully he can win the fans back on side, and you'd hope that he can continue being a Palace player even after this season, because he's been brilliant for them, and of course they've been a big part of his resurgence as a player. They've been a big part of him getting that France call-up as well, and I'm sure he'll be grateful to them, despite the fact that he wanted to move.
Yeah, he's real box office to watch as well, isn't he? Quite unorthodox for a striker. More of a throwback as well to a sort of number 9. So we'll see how he gets on in the rest of this game. No chances for him just yet as Strout takes this drop ball. Was Leeds' possession just before that injury. Leeds winning a throw-in again high up the pitch. Another one to come in from Ampadu.
We of course can't be sure that the Palace fans aren't just saying boom and not boo. So.
It's one to consider as well, isn't it? The champ might come back today if he scores. But Ampadu will have this throw-in as Leeds look to continue their good start to this second half. 20 minutes in, still goalless though. Leeds down to 10 men. Ampadu launches it in, not too much distance this time. Strout wins the knock-on, and Calvert-Lewin was lurking with Benitez in there in the nick of time.
Decent ball in from Ampadu. This one's not as close to Benitez, it's a bit further away. They just need to get a clear contact on that to really cause a problem.
Yeah, it looks like Man United have wasted no time in retaking their lead at Old Trafford though. Mateus Cunha has put the Red Devils 2-1 up now in that game, so the lead restored. Meanwhile, Dundee United have doubled their lead in the derby against Dundee FC. Now for Lacroix, across towards Chris Richards. He's got Johnson in support on that touchline. Moves it towards Wharton, good first time ball, and towards Gesson, and Palace have got some space to work with now. Sarr is the offside, ball across the face of goal. Mateta is there. Darlow has to make the save. Leeds will want an offside, but Palace have got themselves a corner.
Yeah, I don't know how much Mateta knew about it, because it's an effort which is rebounded and ricocheted twice and then off Mateta. Don't know if it's actually going in. Carl Darlow's not sure, so he sprawls across, and it's a save he feels he has to make. It's good work down the right hand side from Sarr, even better from Joe Rodon. As I say, in flicking it up, it comes off Mateta and towards goal.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that one is going to be on target. Joe Rodon was playing Sarr miles on side, by the way, in the build up to it. So it's going to be this corner now for Crystal Palace. Adam Wharton to deliver it left-footed in swinging. It's high into the box. Ampadu's up there, so is Lerma, though he wins it. Across the face of goal, it's back in from the Quat. Leeds should get it clear. There's been a stoppage in play, though, a head injury for Lerma. He's quickly back up to his feet, but the referee still had to stop the game regardless. Both sets of players complaining to the referee about that one. Teta is pointing to himself for some reason, but Thomas Palmer's had to stop the game.
I think he's gesturing that Palace had the ball, so they should have the ball from the restart potentially. That's the only thing I can think what Crystal Palace are complaining about here.
Yeah, Glasner still barking out instructions though on the touchline. Crystal Palace have only scored 7 goals from open play at home this season. It's the fewest in the division. 7 for them, 8 for Everton, 10 for Leeds, who are then the next team. So set pieces might be the way for either side in this game. It feels like a game that could be decided by a set piece as well. Just that bit of chaos from one of them. Glasner and Farker having an in-depth conversation on the touchline. They both got to be careful though. They're both on bookings.
I think Daniel Farke, his body language to me is just saying to Oliver Glasner he can't believe the referee in performance. I mean, for the neutral, yes, he made a mistake in the first half. He's not really done anything wrong in the second. But Daniel Farke just looks almost unbothered by how bad he feels that Thomas Bramwell has performed.
Cambo now with a ball searching for Felix Mateta. It's away though by Joe Roden this time. With that though, we have passed the halfway point of this second half. Leeds, despite being down to 10 men, maybe could say they've been the better side in this second half. They're battling well with Crystal Palace. We'll see if the fitness comes into the equation though. And with that, Crystal Palace 0, Leeds 0. It's Tom to take us through to full time.
Cheers, Josh. Yeah, Crystal Palace in possession. Wharton nearly shows too much. Dominic Calvert-Lewin play on is the order of the day. As Cambo has it, moves back in field to Wharton. Wharton into the centre circle for Lacroix. He's been brilliant so far in this one. Lerma. When will Palace push? When will they go for it? Because they're still up against 10 men, but it's still Palace 0, Leeds 0. Out towards the left-hand side is Mitchell. Infield to Mateta. Poor first touch. Second recovers. Backwards to Cambo. Good pressure from Stack. Across to Lacroix. On halfway is Lacroix out towards the right-hand side for Richards. Touch out of his feet into the toes of Johnson on that right-hand side. Wharton round the corner. He's the man for Palace if they need to bring the ball forward. Out towards the left-hand side for Mitchell, though. That midway through opposition territory. Scoops it over the top of the right boot of Bogle into the path of Gesson. Rodon does just enough to deny a corner. He's out for a Palace throw right in the corner on that left-hand side.
Yeah, we're going to just take it shortly towards Camvo. Just maybe signs that Palace are starting to get on top here.
Yeah, Lacroix has gone for a strike there from distance. It's immediately blocked. It's almost kept alive there by Jefferson Lerma. Here's Mitchell on the left-hand side, backwards to Canvo. Ball looped into the air. It's a dangerous one. It's flicked over the top by Pascal Straug. He wasn't sure where that was going, but the Leeds man does enough in the end. Nervy moments for the travelling Leeds United fans. You feel it's a dangerous ball in from Canvo. It's just about dealt with.
Yeah, really good ball in from Cambo. A dangerous one, and Sat gets in between the two centre-backs. Straug, I think, must be a little nervous there as he heads that ball. It's not a million miles away from finding his own top corner. Luckily for him, just over the bar, but another Palace corner to follow.
Yeah, it's going to be an in-swinging one from this left-hand side. Something being indicated by Johnson, the taker, from the training ground. He's got his arms in a cross in the air. And then he raises his right arm. Maybe a miscommunication there of signals, and pause in play as we wait for Johnson to take it still. Then it comes in towards the far post. It's flicked away by Pascal Straug, but only as far as Adam Wharton, who hits one. They want a penalty for handball. Lerma with the follow-up. The referee unmoved as Leeds are able to clear. He's towards halfway where Mitchell has it. The protests have dissipated almost immediately as they were born, and Palace will have possession. Here's Canvo. Out towards the right-hand side for Wharton. He leaves it for Richards. Richards to Sarr. Sarr to Wharton now, right-hand side. Cuts back on his left. Looping ball into the air is a dangerous one. He's flicked away by Rodon. He's gone down under a challenge. Referee's blown his whistle. He'll give a Leeds a free kick. Well, no, he won't. He's actually raised his whistle to his mouth, but then not blown it. And play continues as Cambo has it. Rodon's back to his feet. In towards the toes of Mateta. Rodon challenges for it. Doesn't win it. Here's Lacroix to Richards on the right-hand side. Pressure building now on Daniel Farke's side. And it's Crystal Palace putting them under that pressure, but still goalless. Here's Canvo, about 30 yards from goal. Thought about a strike, loops it over the top instead. Poor ball. Justin will allow it to go out. That'll be a goal kick, but Palace is certainly growing into this second half.
Yeah, they are. There's still not really any clear-cut chances, and Carl Darlow's not been enforced into any major saves. We'll have a look at the replay now, finally, of that handball shout. It's Wharton who strikes it right-footed on the edge. I mean, Gruev's got his hand really close to his body. There's not really much he can do with it and put it anywhere else. Does strike his arm, but nowhere else that the Bulgarian can have that one. But some extended possession for Crystal Palace. Again, not really doing too much with it though.
Darlow with the ball forward from the goal kick over halfway, looking for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Header's won by Lerma. The second though is won by Ampadu, and then Gruev keeps alive for Strauk on halfway. Ball forward into the final third, looking for James Justin, who's up there supporting. Takes a couple of deflections before going out of play on that right-hand side for a Leeds throw. It's in Ethan Ampadu territory. 72.5 minutes gone, still goalless.
Yep, certainly Ampadu range, isn't it? I mean, the longer this game goes on, maybe the more that Leeds think they can go and get a winner. They'll be growing in confidence at seeing Palace really struggle against them, even with 10 men. And these are the danger now for Leeds, aren't they? These long throw-ins from Ampadu. Let's see how they can get on with it.
Yeah, the captain will launch this one in. They've had some real length on them. Just looking to find a man in a white shirt. Ampadu, again, it's a long one towards the penalty spot. It's flicked down by Mitchell, cleared away by Gesson. Underneath it is James Justin. Poor pass for Ampadu. They'll have to go back towards their own half to restart, as it's eventually picked up by Bogle. He's been quiet since coming off the bench at half-time. Darlow has it now. He clears long under pressure from Mateta. Over halfway as it's won by Lacroix once again. I think he's won every single header this afternoon.
Yeah, he's done brilliantly. Up against Calvert-Lewin as well. He's one of the best aerial strikers in the Premier League at winning headers. He just manages to stay in the air for so long. But Lacroix's done a brilliant job of managing him so far in this game. Calvert-Lewin barely had a sniff other than the penalty, of course. So a great performance from the Frenchman.
That's great endeavour from Gruev. He's supported by Justin. Foul there from Brennan Johnson, who's already been booked. That's the point the Leeds players are making. The Leeds fans will be as well. Pressure on the referee. Now, Leeds will feel aggrieved here, because if you're just joining us, there was some real controversy at the end of the first half. Gabriel Goodmanson was booked, a second yellow. The referee forgot he'd give him a first. He eventually sent him off. It's a very, very similar challenge by Brennan Johnson. They will feel, Leeds, that this should be even. They should be all square. It should be both sides down to 10 men.
I think he should be off. I think he should be off for that. I mean, Leeds will. I'm sure Daniel Farke is going to have quite a big point to make at full time. He's trying to keep himself composed, of course. He has already on a yellow card himself. But I mean, if Brennan Johnson isn't sent off there, I mean, why has Gabriel Goodmanson just been sent off before the break? It's a very similar challenge. If anything, Johnson's is actually worse, as Leeds are going to try and get out on the break. So a real lack of consistency there from Thomas Bramall.
Yeah, quarter of an hour remaining. Crystal Palace 0, Leeds 0. There's been so many different storylines and so many different pieces of controversy in this game. Leeds have missed a penalty, of course, as well, just before the sending off. Daniel Farke is very frustrated in his dugout. He's not voicing that towards the fourth official. He's not going to risk getting sent off at this stage, of course. As Josh mentioned, there's been another goal at Old Trafford. Manchester United have doubled their lead and potentially put that one to bed. Manchester United 3, Aston Villa 1. What a resurgence they're having under Michael Carrick. I mean, Villa as well, you could say, have seen their form downturned, but they're still a Champions League contender, and seemingly Manchester United are dispatching them this afternoon. Ball given away by Leeds, won back initially by Beale. Now Bogle has it on the right hand side. He's striding forward towards halfway, has a look into the final third, looks for Calvert-Lewin, just too much, asked too much of Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Overhit, and Benitez comes to get it. Quarter of an hour remaining, still goalless at Selhurst Park as Crystal Palace have it. Lacroix into the feet of JD Cambo as he finds Ismail Sarr on the left hand side. He's been quiet this afternoon. What can he do? Finds Mitchell onto his left. Bogle with a toe in. Can't stop the corner from being given, though. It's out for a Crystal Palace set piece.
Yeah, good effort there from Jayden Bogle. It's just too much for him in the end. He plays it off the corner flag as well, and unfortunately for him, bounces on the wrong side of where he wants it to go to. So Palace have looked decent with these set pieces. They're readying some more changes now as well. That's Daichi Kamada, who's one of them. Can't quite see who the other one might be. I think it's Pino, actually, could be also coming on, but Johnson regardless with this in-swinging corner.
It's Benjamin Sesko, by the way, the Manchester United scorer, just to confirm. Still 0-0 in our game, as it is between Nottingham Forest and Fulham, as Johnson prepares this corner, in-swinging, high lofted towards the back post. The heads go up away from Rodon, only as far as Wharton, who hits it. That's blocked though by Ampadu. Ball's high into the sky. Mitchell wins the header bravely. Beale partially away. Again, Crystal Palace keep it alive. Mateta battling for it. Bogle's able to swing clear. Wharton picks it up near halfway, opens up. Left-footed ball across the ground to Mitchell on this near side. Bogle comes across. Mitchell sizes Bogle up. Ball into the area early towards the back stick. Too much on it. Partially kept alive there by Johnson, but Stack has it now. Forward come Leeds. Foot in from Wharton, does just enough to dispossess as Lerma has it. Good defending from Crystal Palace as Wharton has it once again on the right hand side. Chops in on his left. Finds Richards. Halfway now for Lacroix. Across to Canvo. 77 minutes on the clock still. Crystal Palace 0, 10 men, Leeds United 0. Is it now the stage in the game where Leeds rest on their laurels? They sit back and try and grind out a 0-0 draw as Mitchell goes down the left hand side, wins a corner from Bogle.
Yeah, you maybe have to think about that for Leeds. Is it worth trying to send those players forward to get a winner when you're a point here? It's still not a bad result, is it, for Leeds? It's another game unbeaten. It's just these are the sort of silent killers in your season. These sort of draws where you think maybe at the time it's a good point, but then you get to the end of the season and you're sort of getting dragged back into that relegation battle. They need points on the board, they need wins on the board. And it's games like this where they've sort of missed out this season.
They've gone short from the corner, comes back to Johnson into the area. It's a really dangerous one. Oh, what a save. Oh, but it's in the back of the net. Carl Darlow's save, all in vain, but the flag's gone up on the far side. Will this one count? Well, Crystal Palace, they're absolutely fuming. 2 or 3 have gone across to the official on the far right-hand side. It's a brilliant stop initially from Carl Darlow. Lerma it was who poked it in at the second effort. I'm not entirely sure what it's been ruled out for, Josh, but it remains Crystal Palace 0, Leeds 0.
Yeah, flag's gone up for an offside. I mean, we'll see it. Is it against Brennan Johnson, who actually comes back from an offside position as it's taken? It's taken there as well. I mean, there's no offside in the actual header that comes in from Lerma. Canvo keeps his run onside. Everyone does as well. It's Lerma with the initial header himself, and then he pokes it into the net. The offside must come from Brennan Johnson after he takes the corner. So we'll see if that's what it's for. Otherwise, can't really understand why it's given. There's no fouling. I mean, Carl Darlow, for that alone, deserves to be let off for it. I mean, the angle they're using here for the VAR is not the most convincing. I think Johnson might have just kept inside of Calvert-Lewin here.
Yeah, I agree. I've got to agree, Josh. He doesn't look offside at all, does he? But he is, seemingly. I mean, the angle's deceived us. I tell you what, the VAR may have caused a lot of problems. You know, it leads the referees to not give decisions or give decisions, and you know, there's a lot of questions about it. But I feel since VAR's come in, linesmen have got so much better at telling when people are offside. That must be minuscule, and he has to see it at the exact right moment, because it's basically a foot race between Joe Rodon coming off that front post and Brennan Johnson coming away from the corner flag. It must be so close, and he's got it right.
Yeah, he has real credit to the linesman. I mean, that was a pretty quick, actually, decision from VAR, which we're sometimes not used to seeing. We're seeing the substitutions now. Brennan Johnson and Canvo being replaced by Kamada and then Pino as well. I think Brennan Johnson is quite lucky to have survived 80 minutes of this game, but I mean, he nearly got the crucial moment there. I mean, maybe it has to be minuscule, though, this.
Yeah, it's got to be so tight. It was Calvert-Lewin, wasn't it? Sorry, you were right at the first instance. It wasn't Rodon. Ball forward though. 10 minutes to go. Calvert-Lewin gives chase. Lerma under pressure. Nods partially away to Mitchell. Flags up. It's Calvert-Lewin this time. He was offside. Crystal Palace 0, Leeds United 0. Just to confirm them, as Josh mentioned. So Jeremy Pino on. Daichi Kamada on. It's Johnson who goes off. JD Cambo joins him on the bench. That's 2 of 4 changes in the game. Mateta had already replaced Strand Larsen, and Wharton had already replaced Hughes. For Leeds, just the 2 for the time being. Aronson and Metcho were off at half-time. Grove and Bogle came on. They, of course, lost Goodmanson to a red card as well. Here's Richards. Right-hand side for Sai. Just seems to have switched over to the far side with that latest change. Jeremy Pino collides the ball off the legs of Grove and out for a Crystal Palace throw. With it taken by Richards across back towards halfway for Lacroix. Into the feet of Lerma. Lerma back to Richards. Leeds sitting back and defending. And they've got about 9 minutes to continue to do so. Saar backwards to Richards. Good pressure from Gruev across essentially for Lerma. Lerma touch out of his feet. Calvert-Lewin doesn't go across to meet him. Finds Lacroix in the centre circle. Richards once more on the right hand side. Just about keeps it in. 82 minutes played. Palace 0, Leeds 0. Ampadu with pressure on Wharton. Manchester to squeak it away though for Lerma. Lerma into the feet of Mitchell on the left hand side. He's got Bogle to beat once again. Thinks better of taking him down the line. Finds Kamada instead. Looping ball into the area. Straight into the arms of Carl Darlow. And a first introduction from Daichi Kamada. Isn't quite on the money. Carl Darlow will collect those all day.
Yeah, you can see what Kamada's trying to do with it though. He just wants the strikers to make that run ahead of the Leeds defenders. It's a good teasing ball, but again, maybe just too close there to the goalkeeper, who comes out, claims it calmly. I mean, Palace are now finally starting to make the most of that one-man advantage. They're finally starting to box Leeds into their own defensive third. And I mean, 8 minutes left to go now, plus whatever the officials add on. It's tough to see if Leeds can really sort of survive this amount of pressure. It's going to be pretty intense for the final moments.
Yeah, it certainly is. Palace come forward. Lerma into the final third for Mitchell. Again, Bogle goes to meet him. Pushed to the ground there. The referee's going to give a free kick. Well, Mitchell had just flicked it round. It was really smart, actually, from Tyreek Mitchell. Bogle doesn't feel he's done too much wrong, but you put 2 hands on someone's chest, Josh. you're just asking the referee to give a free kick.
Yeah, Bogle makes the point to the referee, but I don't think he's got much of a case to stand on there. He puts two hands on Mitchell, shoves him to the ground. It's an obvious free kick. It stops Mitchell from getting round. We've seen the semi-automated technology now. See Johnson, about half of him is offside as he comes back to receive the ball there. So a little bit of a confusing set piece from Palace to have your own man offside who's taking the corner, but they've got another free kick now to make up for it.
Yeah, you got to credit Calvert-Lewin, haven't you, for reacting and coming off that front post quickly enough. Free kick though, as you mentioned, for Palace. 7 minutes of normal time remaining. Wharton will take it. Raises his right arm in the air, swings his left boot at the ball. It's a poor delivery, flicked away by Stack only as far as Jeremy Pino hits one that's blocked. Stack and Bogle go for the loose ball. It's the latter that gets there. And now Stack on the right hand side tries to feed it back through to the underlapping run of Bogle. Good defending from Mitchell.
Yeah, still feels like that Leeds can maybe just get that one counter attack in this game. It's sort of dried up for them, understandably so. But Bogle and Stack there trying to break their way out, just being shown shots of that Leeds away and still looking like they're in fine voice. Daniel Farker is rather quiet on the subs bench at the moment, won't want to be sent off again. But yeah, Leeds doing just enough at the moment.
It's just hanging on in there, aren't they? And you feel that regardless of the result, Leeds won't blame Gabriel Goodmanson. They'll have all eyes for Thomas Bramwell. Here's Calvert-Lewin down the right-hand side. Pokes it past Lucar, but there's no one there in support. I think he was looking for a deflection for a corner, wasn't he? And it just goes through to Benitez.
Yeah, he's isolated there, isn't he? There's barely anyone making the run into the box. He's trying to play it off his man and then out for a corner, which Leeds would absolutely love at this point in the game. Doesn't work out for them though, and Palace back in possession. Yeah,
Wharton tries to switch play, hits the head of Stack. Loose ball though falls for Mateta. A little bit fortunate there, Crystal Palace. Rodon battling for it. A couple of headers that he's won. Mateta those offside actually in the build up. The flag's up. That'll be a Leeds free kick. 6 minutes to go in normal time. It's still Crystal Palace 0, 10 men, Leeds United 0. They've played the entire second period with a man less, Leeds United, and you would say for about 75% of the second half, Josh, you wouldn't know that they had one less.
No, you wouldn't at all. I mean, this is what we expect though, isn't it, under Daniel Farker's Leeds United, a team that's always going to have high energy and always sort of pressing. They've had that break as well, which I think might have benefited them a lot in this game. The fact they've not had a Premier League game really in, nearly 2 weeks now. It's just allowed them to reset a little bit. It's allowed them to go the full distance in this game. Still 5 minutes left to go, of course. And they don't look like tiring too much despite Palace putting more pressure on.
Yeah, Leeds, of course, beat Norwich 3-0 to progress to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. They'll face West Ham as well. It'll be really interesting, that one, considering that both teams are very much still in this fight for survival in the Premier League. Will they see it as an opportunity to gain some confidence with a win against a rival, and will they rest players and make sure that they prioritise the Premier League? We'll wait and see. That one's in a couple of weeks' time as Crystal Palace have it. Lacroix out towards the right hand side for Pino, chops infield. Pino into Lacroix on halfway. Lerma, he's just playing as a left-sided centre half by the looks of it, alongside Lacroix, at least in possession. Richards on the right, into the feet of Sarr. Sarr infield to Wharton, he's unmarked, poor first touch, gets away with it, loops it towards the left for Lerma. Lerma into the area over here. It's really poor. James Justin can't get out of the way. It's a frustrating one, that, for Leeds United. He couldn't move quickly enough. The curl on the ball from Lerma means that it's hit him, and it's going to be a Crystal Palace corner when it could have been a goal kick.
Yeah, it's a wicked ball, isn't it, from Lerma. Justin's always trying to backtrack and just get away from it. He smiles, but it's deep down he's made a mistake there with that one. If Palace go and score from this corner as well, you'd have to really feel that for Leeds. The way they're defending this second half and really put an effort into it, if they are going to concede like this, would be a real tough one to take.
Wharton will take the corner. 3.5 minutes of normal time remaining. In swinging high towards the back post. The heads go up away by Crystal Palace over the top though. Lacroix won the header, as he has all afternoon, to be honest. He's been absolutely brilliant, Maxime Lacroix. But his header is over the top. I think Ampadu just did enough to put him off. It'll be a goal kick.
Yeah, good defending again there from Leeds. There's so many bodies in the penalty area that even if Lacroix manages to keep that down, odds on it just goes to a Leeds shirt and they get the clearance. That's the reality of those set-piece situations. Lacroix been absolutely fantastic though, as you say. A real impressive performance, deserves a clean sheet from it. Obviously in the second half hasn't had as much to do, but has still dealt with Calvert-Lewin absolutely superbly.
No more changes yet for Leeds United. Interestingly to see, Dashi Kamara, 2 hands in the back of Ethan Ampadu. That'll be a free kick, and it'll relieve a little bit of pressure, and Leeds will be able to get the ball forward. They'll be happy, of course, to slow things down. They'll be glad of the stoppages in play. Dashi Kamara with a cheap free kick given away. Stack will take it. And they have sent a couple forward there. You can see Biol and Pascal Strauch have made their way, as has Joe Rodon, so that they're not exactly sitting back, Leeds. Of course, I've got the pace of Jaden Bogle covering. Stack will take it. High lofted towards the back sit where Rodon is. Wins his header, down for Strauch, but cleared away by Wharton. Gruev gives chase under pressure from Jeremy Pino. He's done well there, the Bulgarian, just to shove the Spanish international off balance, and then the ball forward takes a deflection from Richards. That's exactly what Leeds need.
Yeah, brilliant there from Ilya Gruev. He's under so much pressure as Pino is racing at him. Just saw some real composure, puts it down the line again. It's a little bit of an aimless ball, but Richards is sort of in an awkward position. He's trying to adjust himself, and his touch this time comes off him and goes out for a throw into Leeds. We're going to get themselves another chance now with these long throw-ins. Ampadu just slipped there as he goes for his towel. A bit of a comical moment, but he's back up and okay.
Yeah, I hope he's all right. Crystal Palace will feel this is a real missed opportunity, I think. Currently, as it stands, 10 points above West Ham, but 3 points at home against 10 men, which they really should be getting. Ball into the area from Ampadu, looks for Strauch, it drops for Stack on the edge, who hits one. Oh, it's on target, but it's a stop from Benitez. He grabs it with both hands and launches it forward towards halfway. Stack will win the header, and Crystal Palace will keep possession. What a moment that could have been. Stack goes diving in, Mitchell goes round him. Stack thinks better of going for a second challenge, and Crystal Palace will have the ball, but if that would have gone in, what a goal that would have been.
I think that would be the goal of the season, other than Anton Stack's goal against Aston Villa not too long a few weeks ago. He's no stranger, is he, to a screamer, especially from a set piece. This time it's an open play, and does really well to hit the volley like that. Unfortunately for Leeds, it's always down the barrel of Benitez. Makes a fairly routine save of it in the end, but still a good effort from Anton Stack.
The hosts in possession, 45 seconds remaining in normal time. This is going to be a big missed opportunity if they don't get all 3 points. So quite essentially shifts it out towards the left for Mitchell. Mitchell's going to have a look at Bogle, goes infield to Kamada, poor first touch, won back by Leeds. Calvert-Lewin looking for the foul and gets one. You could see exactly what the former Everton man was trying to do there, and he gets a touch from Evan Gesson and goes down. But Crystal Palace, if you're a Crystal Palace fan, you're looking at this game and thinking, Oliver Glasner, I know he's been criticised for having no plan B. You would definitely agree with that. You think there's no real bite about them, there's no real impetus about them. How are they not beating Leeds?
Yeah, I mean, it's the question that's got to be asked. I mean, this not only are Leeds down to 10 men, this is a side that have only won one Premier League away game all season. So they've really got to be making most of chances like this. They might think they're already at the point of the season where they are safe, though, and there's not really that much left to them to play for. They might be having one eye, of course, on Europe as well. There's a chance to get Europa League football if they go and win that tournament. So that probably is the focus for Palace at this point. At the same time, though, you want to be sending out statements in games like this and beating the teams around you. Yeah,
it's important context, isn't it? Crystal Palace's Conference League endeavour. 0-0 against AEK Larnaca. They've got a trip to Larnaca in midweek. They did suffer a defeat against them. They had their number in the league phase at Selhurst Park. But if Crystal Palace can get over the line in that one, if they can win that game, then they're through to a quarter-final in Europe. And as you said, they're pretty much safe. They're home and host. But it's still Crystal Palace 0, Leeds 0. 91 on the clock. The fourth officials indicated a minimum of 5 minutes added on at Selhurst Park. Forward come Palace. Pino from Wharton. Pino into the area looking for Mateta, chests it down, swings a right boot at it. It's a poor effort from Mateta. It's cleared away. There's a foul anyway in the build-up, so it'll be a Leeds free kick. But Jean-Philippe Mateta really fluffed his lines.
Yeah, he did. You're just thinking now it's going to open up for him. When that Leeds player slips on the floor, I mean, it's given us a foul anyway. You're thinking on that right foot, the script is set up for it. It's good defending from Leeds as well, isn't it, really? All the players throw themselves in the way of it, still battling hard, even at this stage in the game. It's the sort of chances, though, that Mateta thrives off of, and it's not taken.
Still just the 2 changes for Leeds, and we're into that stage of the game now, given the context of the scoreline, 0-0 with 3.5 minutes to go. It'd be a good opportunity, I think, for Daniel Farke to make some changes, just to run the clock down, if anything. But he's a very honest manager and clearly feels that he doesn't want to change anything for change's sake. As Lerma goes across towards halfway for Pino, Gruev puts pressure on him. Pino, though, finds Sarr, or rather tries to find Sarr. It's actually behind him. It's out of play for a Leeds throw. And that just sort of sums up Crystal Palace's day, doesn't it? I mean, they've almost been handed this on a plate by Thomas Bramall. A red card, which probably shouldn't have been for Gabriel Goodmanson. Leeds fans will feel that Johnson should have been sent off to level things up, and he didn't. Leeds, of course, missed a penalty. Everything was pointing towards a Crystal Palace win, and they just have let themselves down.
Yeah, they have really. I mean, they've not had a shot on target actually in this game. If you don't count that header against Darlow, which was of course offside, they've not tested the Leeds goalkeeper at all. Despite Leeds playing half of this game with 10 men, it's really poor from a side, you know, that won the FA Cup last season, that are into a quarter-final potentially in Europe if they get it right on Thursday. And yeah, just sort of sums it up for them at the moment. However, time still running down on the board, and they've got a corner.
Well, time is up in the other two games that kicked off at 2 p.m. Manchester United have beaten Aston Villa by 3-1 at home, and Nottingham Forest have drawn 0-0 with Fulham at the City ground. The Leeds United, if they can find a winner, will be pushing some distance away from Nottingham Forest, but it's a Crystal Palace corner. Wharton will take it. 2 minutes to go. Raises his right arm in the air, left boot at the ball. Wharton towards the front post. The heads go up. It's met by Straub, kept alive by Gesson. But he's got Sk behind him. Just shows too much to the German, who's able to come across and has actually won the throw. That's a poor decision from Evan Gesson. He didn't seem in any rush whatsoever to bring it down, and Sk's able to win the throw from him.
Yeah, no urgency at all there, is it, from Gesson? Very pedestrian-like in a late stage of this game where they have the chance to put the pressure on Leeds. Brilliant though again from Sk, who's not stopped running this afternoon, pretty much like all those Leeds players, and they do well to win the throw. And this is music to the ears of Daniel Farke. Just keep it away from that side of the pitch and it'll almost be job done. Ampadu
throws it down the line with no real intention other than to get it away from the final third, or the defensive third. Sk gives chase. Benitez, poor ball forward to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. It's fired into Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who can't control it. If he had, maybe an opportunity would have been there, but it's a ball over the top. Darlow will come and get it as Mateta gave chase. Darlow over the ball and on the ground. Palace 0, Leeds 0 into the final minute at Selhurst Park. Darlow into the sky, high over halfway. Calvert-Lewin will jump for it, won by Richards. Good header of the ball to find Gesson. Round the corner from him to Mitchell. Bogle goes to meet him. Mitchell round the corner and in behind here for Mateta. It's just been held up, and that allows Rodon to come back to deal with the Frenchman. Mateta right in the corner, swings a ball in, low driven one, flicked away by Ampadu. Job nearly done for Leeds United. Yeah, Ampadu has been absolutely sensational in this game. He's been brilliant all season for Leeds, but again, just always seems to be in the right position, doesn't he? He just commands the centre of the field, and now with 20 seconds left for Palace, you'd imagine this is the last chance if they can get it forward quickly enough. Lerma across to Lacroix. This will be the last roll of the dice. Lacroix dilly-dallying in possession. Lerma has to go into the area, and it does. It's high lofted towards Mateta, flicked away by Beale, only as far as Wharton to keep it alive. That's over the head of Richards, though. He has to sprint to retrieve it into the feet of Pino. Last chance surely for Crystal Palace. Pino turns one way, then the other. Grave comes to meet him. Ball into the area is a poor one. Mateta on the end of it. Bogle, though, to flick it away. Last-ditch defending from Leeds United, and there's the full-time whistle. Daniel Farke's side will feel aggrieved by Thomas Bramall, but they've been able to grind out a point away from home with 10 men. They played the second half without Gabriel Goodmanson, and Crystal Palace failed to register a shot on target across 90 minutes. It's full-time at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 0, Leeds United 0. Thanks for joining us.
Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck! Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities.